HasanAbi on the beat. Yeah. The people, they won't leave. What is threatening about divesting and want a piece? The problem isn't the protest, it's what they're protesting. It goes against what our country is funding. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. Block the barricade until Palestine is free. When I was 7, I learned a lesson from Cuban Easy-E. What was it again? Oh yeah, fuck the police. Actors and badges protecting property in a system that was designed by white supremacy. But the people are in the streets. You could pay off Meta, you can't pay off me. Politicians who serve by any means, AIPAC, Kufi, and all the companies. You see, we sell fear around the land of the free. But this generation here is about to cut the string. You could ban TikTok, take us out the algorithm, but it's too late. We've seen the truth, we bear witness. Seen the rebel, the buildings, the mothers and the children, and all the men that you murdered, and then we see how you spin it. Who gets the right to defend and who gets the right of resistance? It's always been about dollars and the color of your pigment. But white supremacy is finally on blast, screaming free Palestine to their home at last. We see the lies and claiming it's anti-Semitic to be anti-Zion, assessing Jewish brothers and sisters out there riding in solidarity and screaming free Palestine, with them organizing and learning and finally cutting ties with the state that's gotta rely on apartheid system to uphold an occupying violent history been repeating for the last 75. The Nakba never ended, the colonizer lied. It's students' intents posted on the lawn, occupying the quad is really against the law. Ain't no reason to call in the police and their squad. Where does genocide land in your definition hot? Destroying every college in Gaza and every mosque, pushing everyone into Rafah and dropping bombs. The blood is on your hands, by that we can see it all. And fuck no, I'm not voting for you in the fall. Undecided, you can't twist the truth. The people out here united, never be defeated when freedom's on the horizon. Yet the music industry's quiet, complicit in their platform of silence. What happened to the artist? What you gotta say? If I was on a label, you could drop me today. I'll be fine with it, cause the heart fed my page. I want a ceasefire, fuck a response from Drake. What you willing to risk? What you willing to give? What if you were in Gaza? What if those were your kids? If the West was pretending that you didn't exist, you want the world to stand up, and the students finally did. Let's quit it.
That's my song. DJ, turn that shit up. That's my fucking jam, chat. What's happening, everybody? I'm Hassan Piker, and this is my song, coming to you live from the mean streets of New York City. I'm live and alive, and I hope all the boys, girls, and MBs are having a fantastic one. Coming to you live from the heartland of America in the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in downtown Brooklyn, New York. Not really, but I like saying that. Regardless, shouts out to Emma Jordy Report, shouts out to Sam Cedar, shouts out to Emma, shouts out to all of them out there. That's right. I'm live. I'm alive. Pretty bold. Showing up in New York. What are you going to do about it, huh? I'm live. I'm alive. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic one, ladies and gentlemen, because today's a beautiful day. Today's a wonderful day. Today is Monday Newsday. That's right. Sam was kind of upset you weren't visiting him. Oh, they talked about it. Yeah, I was too busy doing Chris DiStefano's podcast this morning. I'll be talking about that in a second. But listen, this is part of the broadcast where I tell you a little bit about my personal news about what's going on in the world of HasanAbi Piker. Okay. I'm live. I'm alive. And I hope everyone's having a great one. Okay. How much New York City pizza are you getting? Hopefully not a lot. Okay. I've been limiting my intake, limiting my uptake, limiting everything. But in any case, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, and ambies, we're live. We're alive. And this is for the parasocialists out there. Sam said you fake. He's right, bro. I'm fake. Anyway, let's talk about what I've done in between the time period where I press the stop streaming button and press the start streaming button, because that's what I do in this part of the broadcast, right? And honestly, what has happened in the world of HasanAbi Piker? Not much. Just kidding. A lot has happened, as a matter of fact. I ended the broadcast last night, and then I spent the rest of the night hanging out with the family. Okay, what's going on over here? You giving us a little visit? What? Come say hi, bro. Don't be shy. Murat just walked in as soon as I went live, did one of those, and just walked out. Why are you in New York City again? Just a change of scenery. You already know. Well, the real reason is because I have some family stuff going on, you know, and that's it. That's the major reason why I'm in New York. Anyway, folks. Last night, I ended the broadcast. I hung out with family. I didn't really do too much other than that. I ordered some room service. Yeah, I bought Rudy Giuliani's apartment. That's why I'm here to buy Rudy Giuliani's apartment. That's why I'm here to be Kendrick Lamar's new roommate. Get it all out of your system. You know what I mean? Wait, hold on 1 second. 1 second. What? Okay, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Oh, let me 1 second. Anyway, is that Rudy? Yeah, it's Rudy. I'm like, Rudy, chill out, bro. Calm down, Rudy Giuliani. How is Chrissy D? Oh yeah, we'll talk about that actually. Murat's a huge Chris DeStefano fan from what I understand. So that's pretty funny. New Hossie thirst talk off the presses. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so Rudy Giuliani, what are you doing? Yeah, Rudy Giuliani in a hotel room. You already know. You downloaded Disco Elysium, right? Yes, I did. So, folks, what was I gonna say? Okay, so I woke up this morning. I went to shoot Chris DeStefano's podcast. Okay, I went over there to shoot the pod. It was phenomenal. I could tell from the jump that he had no idea who the fuck I was. Like he just like didn't really do any research whatsoever. But it was a phenomenal conversation, really fun, no matter what. Which is probably good. It's probably good that he didn't actually do that. So, so the vibes were actually pretty solid as a consequence of him not doing any research ahead of time on me. But he's a really good dude. But it's not know your 9/11 take. Oh, we talked about that too. Chris DeStefano is a podcaster / comedian. He's a comedian. He's great. In unrelated bear news, yeah, he's a mega centrist Lamau. Okay, shut up. So what, dude? What do you want me to do? Never go on fucking podcasts? Like, I'm sorry that like people whose audiences that I'm expanding into are not sufficiently Marxist, Leninist, Maoist, third worldist enough for you. Okay. Anyway, so I did the pod. Then I hit up my boy Taylor Swift's personal trainer, Kirk, who owns the gym called Dog Pound. And I went there and got a lift in. Okay. Posted a little thing on my Instagram story. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but just me doing some cat cows, you know, ain't no big deal. Ain't no big deal. It's like not even a thing to me. You can raise your light bar. It's reflecting really heavy off your glasses. Bro, my producer is in the back room giving me fucking production notes right now. You hear that? Show on stream. Go to my Instagram and you can see it. Hold on. I'll log in. Don't worry. I'm logging into my Instagram on my laptop just so I can show it. Are you doing the Adam Friedland show? Yes, I will be doing the Adam Friedland show tomorrow. That's right. I'm doing TAFs. Probably a fucking horrible idea, but I'm doing it nonetheless. Okay. But yeah, if you guys want to see a big boy put up his fucking body like it's nobody's business, here it is. Okay. Goddamn. Look at those fucking lats. Look at those shoulders. Look at that mobility. This guy's out of control. Someone needs to put a stop to this. How is he doing it? How is he doing those things, dude? Anyway, but yeah, that was after my actual workout. You're gonna get so canceled, dude, having a HasanAbi PR. Okay, everybody, chill out. Uncle Sam was sad you curved him, Lamau. Let me see if I can figure it out. Stop making me have gay thoughts. I can't stop that. He said you did want to see him and called you a bad nephew. That's sad. That makes me sad. Okay, I have to fix this. I have to fix this wrong. This incredible wrong. I have to make it right. Anyway, let's see. I was supposed to work out tomorrow, but maybe I'll cut the workout, or maybe it'll cut into the stream time. We'll figure it out. Because like he streams right before I stream. And if I want to work out and do all of that good stuff, I'm not gonna be able to do that. Anyway, I'll blast off in a second. Okay, chill. The HasanAbi is coming. Can you imagine how hype it would be for you to be able to do an iron cross? What's that? Anyway, everybody stop bullying me, okay? Yeah, I went to collab with Haley Bo Bailey, okay? That's why I'm in New York. Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do, okay? Welcome to New York. Oh, anyway, but yeah, I got a good lift in. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty solid, pretty tight. Glad I worked out. I'm in a great mood as a consequence of that. Hopefully chat won't ruin it. Hopefully chat won't ruin my good mood. Other than that, there's not much going on, I guess. The Chris Stefano podcast was pretty fire. Very excited about it. And yeah, very excited for the news. I've been going crazy. I've been going stir crazy, not covering the news for a couple days. You know what I mean? It's like I skipped Saturday. Yesterday was a fun day in general. It's crazy to me that we are. Is it going to be the TAF show or the pod? Wait, what do you mean? There's a show and a pod that's separate? Have you been using public transport or just getting around? Sometimes I walk, but other times if it's like Brooklyn, I'm fucking obviously getting a car. A lot of the pods are in the Brooklyn side of town. I can't be. I was supposed to visit Todic, but he's got some other stuff that just came up, so I won't be able to, unfortunately. But yeah, haven't been here. Are you there to testify in my president's defense? Yes, pretty much. There's public transport in Brooklyn, lol. Yes, but I don't want to fucking like. If I take public transit to Brooklyn from where I'm at, it doubles the fucking commute time. So I'm trying to fucking max out on the amount of time that I spend live on fucking camera, chatters, rather than like, I love public transit, as you guys know. I'm a big fan, and I do actually take public transit when there is a public transit readily available. But the reality is, in a situation where I'm trying to content max, sometimes it's going to be fucking hard. Sometimes it's going to be hard to content max and also public transit max at the same time. Anyway, but yeah, we have some controversy. We're going to address the elephant in the room. And no, it's not the top of the hour ad break, as that one chatter was trying to tell me, because I'm only 30 minutes into the broadcast. So right now I'm going to run a 1 minute ad break at the top of the hour when we do a 30 minutes. Half of the, we're not doing the top of the hour ad break. Is it true that you went to New York City to hang out with Eric Adams? Yes. New York City, the Los Angeles of America. So it's fine for you to take a car to Content Max, but not for Taylor Swift to Content Max with a private plane? Yes. Yeah, exactly those things. What? Were you wearing a hat? Your forehead has a square on it because of your tan? No, I was not wearing a hat. Anyway, New York is the Ankara of America. Shinjin Drowning mentioned you in the new video about Gartic phone at 27-minute mark. I don't know what that is, what those words are. Bill Burr supports college students for Palestine on Bill Maher's podcast. My fucking goat, my king. You should hang out with Michael Rappaport. I'm sure he's pretty fun. I would rather beep myself than do that. New York, where any day a 9/11 can happen or a new business can start. Both of those things are equally important in New York. The New York of America. Okay, New York, the Los Angeles of America. I'm live. Rafah invasion draws U.S. criticism as Lindsey Graham suggests nukes. Drama. I'm being canceled for anti-white racism again by Redditors. Thoughts on Palestine being a member of the UN? It's great. Have you seen the Nick Mullen tweet? No, I haven't. What else? Might IRL later or game. Get in now. Open ad update. The fuck? I don't give a shit about that. Should I go to the Trump trial, dude? I feel like it's outside. It happened at update. The fuck? I don't give a shit about that. Should I go to the Trump trial, dude? I feel like it's outside. It happens like while I made your chicken yesterday, and oh my god, it came out so good. Congratulations, chatter. Like, there's not really too much happening outside of the Trump trial, right? This could be your chance to meet Trump and get in his cabinet. My cousin Aria Lee says, hey. Who the fuck is that? Hey. Jeremy Scahill broke your streak? No. What is this? Oh. No. I had a good ass streak going. Look at this. Other than the pin ones, it's like mostly just me. And then boom, Jeremy Scahill the one time. Wait, that's literally still talking to me though, I think. I think that's Jeremy Scahill also talking to me though. Anyway, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. New York, the Los Angeles of America. I'm live. Rafah invasion draws U.S. criticism as Lindsey Graham suggests nukes. Drama. I'm being canceled for anti-white racism again by Redditors. My IRA later or game. Get in now. Emma is disappointed you ghosted her and your uncle. I know. I know. I was lifting, which is lame. I know. But I have to get fucking swole, dude. She's insulted. She's a corn star, Brody. What? I'm sorry. All right. I'm alive. Come to Williamsburg. I was in Queens earlier. I had a dream that the City of Sultan was an actual song that played on the radio, and I was trying and failing to put my friends on. New info dropping right now. Eyes open. Lock in Hasan. It's time. I would have removed the Reddit stuff, Big Chief. Don't let that stuff shift your content. Thanks, man. No, I will not be doing meet and greets in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, the industrial heartland of America. In the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, New York, steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal, the heartland of America. Kendrick drop, check my logs. Don't lie to me like that. Don't want to kill the vibes, but have you seen what Operation Olive Branch is saying about you on TikTok? Bro, you're fucking insane, okay? If you think that we will cover that. Especially because, like, it will cause people to go and, like, yell at a bunch of, like, Zoomers whose attention span is already incredibly fucking short. And then all they will spend their time and effort on will literally be yelling at me for not sufficiently demonstrating pro-Palestinian support, okay? And then they'll focus on that kind of shit. They mean well. They're Zoomers. Are you meeting up with Stavi while you're in New York? Bro, I already linked up with Stavi when he was here. What's on your forehead? A zit patch. You guys made fun of me for having a zit, so I wore a zit patch. And now you guys are making fun of me for the zit patch. There's no way to win here, okay? Hasan, go to Union Square and do a giveaway. This is an original idea. Anyway, better than a Nelly Band-Aid? Is this a zit patch or are you bringing back the Nelly Band-Aid? Okay, everybody needs to fucking calm down, okay? I see a lot of you have watched the last episode of the Fear End podcast. Coming in hot. Too afraid to hit the streets of Naperville. Not surprising. Yeah, I got fucking shooters out there. Son. That's why I can't be out here. I can't be out here in the streets, the mean streets of Naperville. They're coming for me. I'm like Chief Keef. I can't go back to Chicago. Okay? Mayor Rahm Emanuel and the mean streets of... Former Mayor Rahm Emanuel and the mean streets of Naperville have shooters out there ready for me. Thank you, Themasius, for the playlist. Yeah, we're gonna talk a lot. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. We smoking that cutie OG. Now no way she talks that way about Kai and gets away with it. I agree. New York is the downtown Brooklyn of America. New York is the Naperville of America. Anyway, did you talk about the new roast server and if you're gonna be on it? Yes, I am gonna be on it. I just don't know exactly when it starts. I think hopefully by the time I'm back home. Oh my god, everyone is texting me. Okay. Murat, respond to my text message, please. MR mention if the timestamp doesn't.
Joe Punny, Hasan says he's in New York City to record
Oh my god. Let's get this out of the way, okay? I'm sorry. I apologize. I fucked up.
podcast. Will we be seeing him in studio this week? I did not know that.
I texted him this morning and he said he couldn't make it. I was like, you should come on by, but he said he's only in for a short amount of time.
Ghosted.
Pretty
Whoa.
insulting.
It is insulting. I had no idea.
I'm gonna text him right now.
He could have texted. He could have.
He's been doing good coverage of the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef.
You go around to say I'm your uncle, and then you don't contact me when you come into
I
town.
mean,
It's
sometimes
pretty-
Well, isn't that family?
I go in and out of a town and don't say hi to my uncles either.
That's fair. That's fair.
There you go.
It was my birthday on Saturday. Could I get a shofar? Also, funny. This is not Austin from PA. Funny Jordan Peterson story.
Okay. That's tough. That's like, I just disappointed Emma and my uncle at the same time. This makes me very sad. Okay. I feel so guilty. That's crazy. You got to go on now. Make the time, my dude. I'm going to try. I'm going to see what I can do. Oh, he's not mad. He's disappointed. I know. That makes me sad. I just texted him. I texted him. I'm going to see what I can do. Okay. He said blocked. That's crazy. No, I'm going to see what I can do. Sorry, just tuning in now. My family members have been asking me to explain why the U.S. withheld info on Hamas from Israel. My initial response is probably because they know Israel can't be trusted to use the information responsibly and legally and Bibi would only further inflame tensions. Is this accurate in your view? Didn't America say that they know where like a lot of key Hamas officials are hiding in Gaza, and they'll give it to Israel if Israel chooses to play nice or something? And it's like, is that what you're referencing? What is this? New mobilization comes. United Nations cuts estimates of women, children deaths in Gaza war in half. What? The United Nations recorded estimates for the number of women and children killed in Israel's war in Gaza nearly by half, inviting new scrutiny. Of the 34,735 people who have died in Gaza since the war began, more than 9,500 were women and more than 14,500 were children. But in the updated data published 2 days later, on May 8th, the UN significantly reduced the figures to 4,959 women and 7,797 children among the 34,844 people reportedly killed in Gaza. The UN cites data from Gaza Ministry of Health, controlled by Hamas, to produce casualty figures. UN spokesman pointed to the April 30th update on the breakdown of the 24,686 fatalities for whom the ministry has complete details. For whom the details have been documented, including, guys, you don't understand. The situation is actually so much better. Okay? The situation is actually so much better. Hey, guys, we've only killed 8,000 children that we have complete details on, by the way. This post is false. The UN reported the number specifically identified so far is less than the entire number reported, which makes sense. In a just world, this deliberate spreading of misinformation at such a critical moment would be considered career ending. I love the idea that it's like, hey guys, let's do a victory lap. Israel has only killed 8,000. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, 7,797 children. Oh, that's okay then. My bad, bro. What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? We're having this conversation where there's like still people under the fucking rubble too. What a crazy fucking take. What an absolutely insane thing to run with. Okay? Anyway, we'll get to that in a second. I'm home for the weekend and my Zionist family members are so dense. I don't even want to do is really bringing the vibes down. It's not even that. It's on. How is this on USA Today? This is a straight up lie. The report says the women were unidentified, not that they weren't murdered. Yeah, that they managed to identify. So not counting the 11K that are still under rebel. No, there's probably more than 11K under the rebel from what I understand. So that just simply means that they can't identify them and they can't find them. And they've been reported as dead. We'll talk about it in a second. We'll get to it in a second. Are you going to take this genocide denial or are you committing? Joe Scarborough. Zana Saeed responds, are you going to take this genocide denial down, or are you committed to spreading lies that dehumanize Palestinians and justify the genocide? It is incredible that you have a platform as big as you do when you can't read the articles you shared yourself. Nothing was halved. A little reading comprehension would show that what you reported, that it's reported versus identified. Genocide denial is usually a bit more sophisticated than this, no? Yeah. Guys, I have to say something. Isn't it convenient that like all matter of healthcare infrastructure was blown up so that like we don't also have an accurate assessment, like a final tabulation? Isn't that so convenient? It's like, shit, man. Like all matter of records that you can cross-reference this information on is basically fucking either A, in the hands of Israel, or B, completely blown up. It's just like, yeah, don't you hate when that happens? Don't you hate when that happens, when the world is saying you're doing an ethnic cleansing campaign and like you just end up accidentally blowing up pretty much the entire infrastructure that any third party could cross-reference and actually offer adequate direct reporting on. So then like people can't really see if you've killed 8,000 babies or not babies, but 8,000 children versus 15,000 children, as though 8,000 children was like a permissible number. Shit, man. Happens all the time. I guess, what a wild state of affairs. Anyway, it says that the report on a death is incomplete if the full name is not documented. That means they don't count it, even though they have a murdered Palestinian man, woman, child lying in front of them just because they don't know the name. How the fuck does that make any sense? I will once again repeat that most of these official organs and the way that they report shit is obviously going to try to massage the truth or lie by omission because they are personally invested in defending the actions of a genocidal apartheid regime. I swear to God, so many news outlets need to get their Alex Jones level lawsuits over the genocide coverage, except they won't, because Alex Jones was slandering American victims of a mass shooting. American victims of a mass shooting have access to legal recourse and are seen as equal citizens under the eyes of the law. Palestinian victims of ethnic cleansing are not seen as equal citizens or even fucking human beings. Because if they were seen as human beings from the jump, none of this shit that we're having a conversation around would even be happening. We would not be having half the conversation that we're having currently if they were already seen as full human beings. Anyway, blast off meme material. You already missed it. You already skipped your shot. Where the dog at? She's in Los Angeles. Don't remind me. Anyway, we'll get to that. But obviously, like I said, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? And these are going to be very dark moments, partially as a consequence of Israel seeing the pressure. I'll give you something that is analogous to, like, let's say there's a content creator, okay, who's very toxic. Let's say that content creator gets into a little bit of trouble because of his endless toxicity. What's a really good thing to do in that situation? Find any and every opening that you can exploit to change the conversation away from how toxic and a monstrous piece of shit you are to, like, I don't know, let's say someone said the word cracker. That will drive the discourse for the next 3-4 days, and not the fact that this specific content creator personally was invoking randomly partners and girlfriends of other people who weren't even originally invested in the beef whatsoever. It's basically releasing a pressure valve, okay? It's releasing a pressure valve. That's what Israel is doing as well. Now, I feel like this analogy works perfectly because said content creator may have even referred to himself as Israel, okay? Make a video about how you've been canceled for the 100th time. It's the new trend. I know. That's why I said canceled in air quotes, because it's a joke. Do you understand? Or mocking a person's OD dad. Oh, yeah. Or that. Isn't that crazy how none of that shit ever gets the same level of attention or play on Reddit or LSF or any number of different, like on the Asmongold subreddit, when in fact someone calling Ludwig a cracker gets like 10x the amount of play? Not even calling him a cracker specifically, but saying it's cracker behavior. We'll of course talk about that in a little bit, but the reason, let me bring it back. Let me bring it back to Israel, right? The reason why Israel is doing all this shit is the same exact thing they did during the ICJ court case opening up to Israel when South Africa took their case to the International Court of Justice, declaring Israel's actions to be genocidal and laying bare the claims that they had made. What did Israel do in retaliation? They, without any evidence whatsoever, and all of their evidence immediately fell apart, by the way, and actually was disproven instantaneously. Without any evidence, they said, UNRWA is Hamas. What happened after that? America and all of America's dick-riding little fucking dog Western nations that fund UNRWA, which is the lifeline of Palestinians, at a time when they desperately need it, they cut the funding. Because they wanted to turn around and say, oh, you guys are calling us genocidal? Well, guess what? Now we're going to cut a funding vehicle, a desperate vehicle for aid that you need in your time of need, when you need it the most. We're going to take that away from the entire Palestinian population. We are going to punish you for it. How dare you say we are doing a genocide? This is Israel behavior. And that's precisely what's happening right now. The media, alongside with Israeli counters, will do anything and everything in this moment of their bloodshed being more criticized than ever before. Okay? Because people are out there being like, hey, maybe this Rafah operation is like going a little too far, right? Israel's turning around and doing everything in its power to just like shift the attention back onto Palestinians in general, try to suppress their aid. They already shut off a bunch of other crossings, claiming that Hamas actually shot at the crossing, even though Hamas did not shoot at the crossing. They blew up a tent inside of a military base that the Israeli occupying force had actually set up 2 kilometers away from the fucking crossing. You know? Meanwhile, Israelis are destroying aid shipments, trying to prevent the limited amount of aid from going in to Gaza. Just wonderful stuff in general. Okay? Yeah, sicking the gross, rabid, ultra-Zionist dog shit settlers on the aid trucks. Will Tokes, thank you for the 5, get the subs. So yeah, on that note, while all of this is going on, let's take a look at what's happening. Don't forget, things are bad. It might even get worse, but ultimately keep your eyes on the prize. Okay? Let's get started. Pressure grows on Netanyahu's government in Israel.
Now to the Middle East and the new questions over Israel's strategy in its war against Hamas. Thousands of Palestinians are now fleeing the city of Rafah. Meanwhile, the U.S. and other countries are increasing pressure on the Netanyahu government to come up with a plan to help tackle the humanitarian crisis. Ramy Inocencio is following all of this in Israel. Ramy, good morning.
Nate, good morning to you. And nearly 360,000 Gazans have now fled Rafah, says the UN, more than tripling in the past few days as Israel's military pushes across the south. But the army has also launched new operations in the north on Gaza City and Jabalia, just a few miles into the strip behind me.
Israel's fear is that Hamas is trying to regroup. The displaced in Gaza City displaced again. To the north, to the south, to the east, said Mohammed Massoud. Leave us alone. On Gaza's southern end, shattered neighborhoods of Rafah are eerily quiet, nearly abandoned after Israel's warnings of an advance. The hundreds of thousands who fled here from the war have fled again too, west to the coastal sands of the Al-Mawasi camp for the displaced, families exposed to the elements. Up the coast, Jamila Abu Jabara lost nearly her entire family in an Israeli strike 7 months ago today. My 8-year-old son's body is still under the rubble, she said. I'm waiting for a ceasefire to pull him out. She was a mother of 7 children. Her 10-year-old daughter, Dima, is the only survivor. I wish this war would end, she said. Many in Israel wish that too. The country mourned its dead soldiers and victims of terror on Sunday, its first Memorial Day since October 7th. But Netanyahu vowed to destroy Hamas. We will keep going until victory, he said. The U.S. cautioned Israel needs an exit plan and to replace Hamas as a governing body or risk a resurgence.
You're going to have a vacuum, and a vacuum that's likely to be filled by chaos, by anarchy, and ultimately by Hamas again.
In Gaza, Abu Jabara wished she could have protected her 6 children from Israel's attacks. I wished I died and they had lived, she said. My message to any mother, see our lives and see our sorrows. I'm one of countless mothers who have lost.
And very public cracks are now appearing between Israel's government and its military. Senior military officials are now also demanding that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu decide what will replace Hamas as the governing body in Gaza or risk Israel being stuck there and with no way out. Drika.
I don't know how else we can have this conversation with people who are still like desperate to defend Israel at this point. Like, I don't know. I don't know how, like, what do you say to that mother? It's just crazy.
And joining me now is Secretary of...
But anyway, Secretary Blinken says Israel has the will and the means to police itself. Here's a full interview where Secretary Blinken runs a fucking full court press while still ultimately being a little critical of Israel's actions, which is the most you're going to get out of this motherfucker. It is crazy. Okay, vice versa the same. What do you mean vice versa the same? There is no vice versa. There is a nuclear military fucking power. Okay. Oh shit. That's a banger tweet. You say Israel should nuke Gaza. We hear the Mossad has a video of me fucking a toddler. Damn. Coming after Lindsey Graham harsh. Anyway, by the way, my family member said that she can't trust BBC reports because they're funded by Qatar. And I was like, I don't even know what she's talking about. BBC is funded by Qatar? Does she mean Al Jazeera? Al Jazeera is the state broadcaster of Qatar. BBC is... The B there is not for what is happening. The B is for British broadcasting. What the fuck? It's funded by television licenses. What the fuck do you mean? Yeah, it's Bin Laden Broadcasting Network. Did Lindsay for real say Israel should nuke them? He didn't directly say it. Yeah, Bahrain Broadcasting Channel, BBC. He basically said, he said everything that lets you, he implied it. Let's just say in the most conservative way, he basically implied it. We're going to get to that in a second. It was implied heavily, as a matter of fact. Do you think that people who ride or die for Israel are compensated because secretly they're anti-Semitic, or like evangelicals want them to live so they can eventually die for the second coming? I think people who ride for Israel have a variety of different reasons for why they ride for it. You know what I mean? There's a variety of different reasons. A lot of it is just like conditioning, programming, lack of care, Islamophobia, might as right politics. A lot of it is just like fear. No matter how hysterical, it's still very real fear for the people who do. Then there's also obviously the anti-Semitic evangelical Christians who. Have you been watching Kai play Elden Ring? No, man. I've been living my life. I'm sorry. I mean, it's great. I'm happy that he's like putting on a show, putting on a fucking clinic. But like, I'm sorry. I mean, it's great. I'm happy that he's like putting on a show, putting on a fucking clinic. But like, that's crazy. Anyway, let's watch this fucking asshole now.
State Antony Blinken. Secretary Blinken, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Morning, Kristen.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to start with that State Department report that did not draw a definitive conclusion about Israel, whether it's violated international law. Amnesty International says of the report, this is the, quote, international version of sending thoughts and prayers. Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen says it ducks the ultimate questions that the report was designed to determine. Mr. Secretary, is the U.S. trying to avoid holding Israel accountable for its actions?
No.
Yes.
We don't have double standards. We treat Israel, one of our closest allies and partners, just as we would treat any other country, including in assessing something like international humanitarian law and its compliance with that law. I would invite people to read the report. They can see for themselves everything that we've laid out in the report. The report also makes clear that this is an incredibly complex military environment. You have an enemy that intentionally embeds itself with civilians, hiding under and within schools, mosques, apartment buildings, firing at the Israeli forces from those places. It's very, very difficult in the heat of war to make a definitive assessment about any individual incident. But what the report concludes is that based on the totality of the harm that's been done to children, to women, to men who are caught in this crossfire Hamas is making, it's reasonable to conclude that there are instances where Israel has acted in ways that are not consistent with international humanitarian law. At the same time, Kristen, we continue to look at, investigate each of these incidents, but critically, so does Israel. There are hundreds, as we understand it, of open inquiries into particular incidents that have taken place since October 7th. There are criminal investigations that are going forward. Israel, unlike many other countries, has both the means and the will to try to police itself. So we need to let those play out. But our own process that has been underway for many months to look at individual incidents, that will continue as well. And when we can reach definitive conclusions, we will. But it's very difficult to do that in the midst of a war.
And I hear you saying how complex the situation is on the ground. But here we are in the 7th month of this war, Mr. Secretary. How is it possible that the State Department, with all of its resources, was not able to reach a definitive conclusion on this critical question of whether Israel has violated international law?
Again, precisely because we continue to be in the midst of that war and making these assessments in real time when we don't have people on the ground, when we also have to make sure that we're getting information from all concerned. That takes time, and we want to make sure that we can reach definitive conclusions. But as the report makes clear, given the totality of the damage that's been done to civilians, to children, to women, to men, given that, given the fact that Israel clearly has procedures, rules, regulations, laws that go into the targeting decisions they make, the way they conduct themselves, but the results that we've seen in terms of the horrible loss of life of innocent civilians, it's reasonable to assess, as we say in the report, that there are instances where they've acted inconsistent with their obligations under international humanitarian law. Those investigations continue, both by us and by Israel.
Let's zoom out a little bit and talk about U.S. policy. The U.S. has urged Israel not to invade Rafah, yet troops are already on the ground. And this weekend, we learned that over 300,000 people are being evacuated. President Biden threatened to withhold certain weapons if Netanyahu goes into Rafah in a full-scale invasion, while at the same time sending in other weapons. Big picture, why should Israel believe that the U.S. is willing to back up its threats?
Well, first, let's step back for 1 minute. No one has done more to defend Israel when it mattered than President Biden. He was there in the days after October 7th, the first president to go to Israel in the midst of a conflict. When Iran mounted an unprecedented attack on Israel some weeks ago, 300 projectiles, including ballistic missiles, launched at Israel, the United States, for the first time ever, participated in its active defense, and President Biden brought together a coalition of countries that helped defend Israel. So no one has done more than Joe Biden. At the same time, what we've seen over the last few months is a deep concern on our part about the possibility of a major military operation in Rafah. Given the damage it would do to civilians, there are more than 1.4 million Gazans in Rafah, most of whom have moved from other parts of Gaza. Absent a credible plan to get them out of harm's way and to support them, President...
I like when he says no one's done more than Biden to defend Israel, because it really just reaffirms my lack of interest in ever voting for Biden or the Democratic Party. It's just like, yeah, I know. Thanks, man. Thanks for repeating that line over and over again. It's like no one, and I mean no one, has done more to defend the Israeli genocide of the Palestinian population than the United States of America, baby. Let's go. Just fucking going on news to just flex on the haters, being like, listen, bro, we love this shit. We ride and we fucking die. Okay? Get them out of harm's way where? Yeah, it's in a normal world, every single person that says this kind of shit or is in a position of power should be feeling incredibly, incredibly embarrassed, scared of the political consequences, scared of being scared of you know, potentially getting into legal trouble in an international tribunal. But we do not live in a normal world. We live in the worst world. We live in shit world over here. It sucks. Upwards of 20 American doctors, by the way, as we're having this conversation, are trapped at the European hospital in Gaza, facing extreme dehydration. At least one is on an IV drip. This is a developing situation. The State Department tells me it is working around the clock and coordinating with Israel and Egypt to evacuate the doctors. Yet a UN vehicle heading to the European hospital was fired on by the IDF today, killing its fucking driver. The Israeli army, IDF, opened fire on the UN vehicle. The driver of the official vehicle with the UN logo and flag was killed, and a UN employee was injured in the attack. But of course, guys, remember, they learned their lesson since the World Central Kitchen, right? They learned their lesson. Just kidding. We didn't teach them a lesson. So, of course, the lesson that they learned was, go ahead. Go ahead, big dog. Keep popping off on fucking UN officials and aid workers. They've killed so many. Why would they stop? That's why him saying Israel has the means to police itself means absolutely nothing. Because just because a country has the means to police itself doesn't mean they have the interest in doing so. And especially when the big dog in the room, the daddy in the room, the United States of America, is not telling Israel, like, cut this shit out. We're gonna actually stop funding your shit. Okay? Why would they? They're learning all of the correct lessons that we're teaching Israel, that they can get away with doing everything they want to get away with. What's to stop us from just flying some damn Blackhawks in there and getting them out? Is the IDF going to fire on U.S. Army helicopters? First of all, the question should be, why the fuck are they in a state of disarray, in a state of dehydration? It's a hospital in an area that was previously declared a safe zone. Okay? Where the fuck's that? What's that about? And also, if you think that Israel wouldn't shoot at American soldiers, you're out of your dang mind. They're going to fucking send in a goddamn Black Hawk, and then the Black Hawk is going to drop. Even without the Israeli soldiers shooting at it, it's just going to fucking explode the moment it goes over Israeli airspace. Because that's just what Black Hawks do. I'm not even joking. Yeah, they should send in a fucking Osprey next, too, after the Black Hawk. I am not at USS Liberty to discuss. Yeah, that's why you send two, dummy. Yeah, so both blow up. 50 years later, the NSA keeps details of Israel's USS Liberty attack a secret. New Snowden documents provide precious new details about an incident that remains shrouded and controversial. On June 8, 1967, an Israeli torpedo tore through the side of an unarmed American naval vessel, USS Liberty, approximately a dozen miles off the Sinai coast. The ship, whose crew was a command of the National Security Agency, was intercepting communications at the height of the Six-Day War when it came under direct Israeli aerial and naval assault. Reverberations from the torpedo blast sent crewman Ernie Gallo flying across the radio research room where he was stationed. Gallo, a communication technician aboard the Liberty, found himself and his fellow shipmates in the midst of an attack that would leave 34 Americans dead and 171 wounded. This week marks the 50th. This was in 2017. 2017 was the 50th anniversary of the assault on USS Liberty. And though it was among the worst attacks in the history against a non-combatant U.S. naval vessel, the tragedy remains shrouded in secrecy. The question of if and when Israeli forces became aware they were killing Americans has proved a point of particular contention in the on-again, off-again public debate that has simmered over the last half a century. So it kind of doesn't fucking matter. I said vessel. Shut up. I hope you guys, maybe develop a different understanding now that you know that at least. When you ask the question, like, oh, what is Israel going to do? Shoot at, like, American troops? The answer is yes.
It's been clear for some time that we couldn't and would not support a major military operation in Rafah. Now, at the same time, we share Israel's objective of making sure that Hamas cannot govern Gaza anymore, that it be demilitarized, that Israel get its leaders. We continue to support that. But there's a better way of achieving that than going headlong into Rafah. That's what we're talking about with Israel now. We have a better way of doing it. We're engaged in conversations with them about that. But the president, answering a question, was very clear about where we are on Rafah itself and what we would do or not do in the event that they go with a major military.
Even if these dumb fucks are insanely Zionists, do they not know how to do politics? Like, they will probably end up losing the election because Gen Z voters not showing up to vote for Brandon because of this issue. So why not at least posture like they care about Palestinians? They posture about everything else. Why not this? There needs to be communication discipline on any and every mention of Israel. And you literally just cannot mention the Palestinian plight. This is a new phenomena in comparison to the past 20, 30 years. I would say where even organs of the American government are even mentioning Palestinian victims of Israel's violence. So what you're seeing is actually a sea change, but it should be a clear indication of how bad things are. You know what I mean? Like, in the last 20, 30 years, we wouldn't even mention Palestinians that are being killed. In many of the communications after October 7, you still, from like all matter of PR, something as marginal or rather insignificant as like a college campus doing PR. Chapo talked to a former spokesperson for one of the colleges that quit their job after October 7. And like part of the reason why they quit was because they thought it was unconscionable that like when attacks were happening against like students, pro-Palestinian students on campus, that the school would just be like, yeah, don't even bring it up. Don't even cover it. So that's usually the modus operandi. No mention of the Palestinians or the Palestine as a state, Gaza as a place. Like usually it's not even a thing that you mention. So the fact that Blinken is even mentioning it is obviously gross because like it's just, so marginal the way he mentions it, but it's actually surprising in the grand scheme of things.
Operation.
I hear you saying you haven't seen a credible plan yet for how Israel would go into Rafah and mitigate civilian casualties. Is it fair to say that President Biden and Prime Minister Netanyahu are not seeing eye to eye right now?
There are two things. One is that, as the president said, and as we said in many conversations over the last couple of months, there has to be a credible plan for the civilians.
Have you seen a credible plan?
We have not. Second, there's something else that's important. We also haven't seen a plan for what happens the day after this war in Gaza ends. Because right now, the trajectory that Israel is on is, even if it goes in and takes heavy action in Rafah, there will still be thousands of armed Hamas left. We've seen in areas that Israel has cleared.
That's why they need to kill more.
Even in Khan Yunis, Hamas coming back. So the trajectory right now is that going into to Rafah, even to deal with these remaining battalions, especially in the absence of a plan for civilians, risks doing terrible harm to civilians and not solving the problem, a problem that both of us want to solve, which is making sure Hamas cannot again govern Gaza. Israel's on the trajectory potentially to inherit an insurgency with many armed Hamas left, or if it leaves, a vacuum filled by chaos, filled by anarchy, and probably refilled by Hamas. We've been talking to them about a much better way of getting an enduring result, enduring security, both in Gaza itself and much more broadly in the region. Those conversations continue, and that's what partners, that's what allies do. We are clear-eyed, and we speak the truth to each other as we see it. We have American interests first and foremost in mind. We also have Israel's interests in mind. And there may be a difference in view in the best way.
A simple disagreement. That's all you need to know. It's just, guys, it's just a couple of simple disagreements happening here. But, you know, nothing to see here, nothing too crazy. Just, you know, Israel's doing its very best. And we think that, you know, it's doing great. And maybe it should keep doing great. Don't worry about it. Why the fuck do they think that this is going to teach Israel anything about restraint? It won't. It will not. It is doing the exact opposite. You're telling them, you're giving them the go-ahead. It's fucking bullshit.
To achieve them, but that's also the nature of the relationship.
I want to drill down with you on President Biden's threat to withhold weapons. What exactly is his red line, Mr. Secretary? What would trigger him to say, I am now withholding weapons?
Look, we don't talk about red lines when it comes to Israel. We talk again.
President Biden did talk about a red line, though, Mr. Secretary. Respectfully.
Let me be.
Damn. I mean, that's the most contentious media, mainstream media, especially MSNBC is ever going to get, or NBC News is ever going to get. She literally raised her fucking voice. That's kind of wild. Let's run that back.
Weapons. Threat to withhold weapons. What exactly is his red line, Mr. Secretary? What would trigger him to say, I am now withholding weapons?
Look, we don't talk about red lines when it comes to Israel. We talk again.
President Biden did talk about a red line, though, Mr. Secretary. Respectfully.
Let me be clear.
What would trigger him to make that decision?
I mean, this is the kind of hard-hitting journalism we need the whole time. One, it's too little, too late, and two, I mean, even any person that sits in that position obviously can't have any kind of self-respect after not fucking hitting that line there. Like, there is a limitation to how much dick riding the media will do to the State Department. Like, you can't literally say there's going to be a red line and then allow Israel to cross it. Like, it's the bare minimum of what she's supposed to be doing here. It's also sad because the reality is Anthony Blinken is correct. Biden and his like supposed red line that keeps conveniently being drawn around the periphery of Israeli occupying forces is closer to Blinken's understanding than what Biden presented it as. Biden said that there is a red line, except he did not enforce it. Anthony Blinken is saying there are no red lines when it comes to Israel, and he's correct. It's the bear hug attitude. This is precisely what the Biden administration communicated to Israel in early October.
Sure. So first, we have been holding back, and we're in active conversations with Israel about the provision of heavy or high payload weapons, large bombs, because of the concern that we have about the effect these weapons can have when they're used in a dense urban environment, like Rafah. We're discussing that with Israel right now. Second, what the president said is that if Israel goes in with a major military operation in Rafah, in that case, there are certain systems that we will not provide to Israel that would aid that effort, because it's something that we do not want to be part of, given the damage that it would do to civilians. And again, not to achieve a durable, lasting, effective result for Israel and for its security. That's what the president said. We've said that in conversations with our Israeli partners. It's unfortunate that that leaked out, but the president responded forthrightly to a question when he was asked about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. He's literally being honest there. It's unfortunate that it fucking leaked out. It really sucks. It really sucks that it leaked out. We did not want that to be leaked out at all, so that I wouldn't have to fucking have this conversation, even though those conversations are leaked as a mechanism for PR. The reason why the Brandon administration leaks certain things like that is because they want to toe this line where they're saying that like they're exercising restraint and also simultaneously giving Israel the go ahead. They want to have it both ways, except you can't keep doing that over and over again. Also, as far as the leak goes, wasn't it specifically Biden being asked the question? And the other side, as far as the weapons transfers being paused, that was leaked by Israel. It wasn't even leaked by American media. It was literally Israel that leaked that information a week prior because they were mad that America dared to cut off access to certain weapons one fucking time. Oh, so fucked up. Wonderful stuff overall.
Secretary, I want to ask you about the very latest on the deal to get the hostages released for a ceasefire. We know that the CIA director has since returned home. Did those talks fall apart because Prime Minister Netanyahu was threatening and is making moves to go into Rafah?
Look, it's important, first of all, to remind ourselves that Hamas could have ended this on day one. Well, this never, of course, should have happened.
Yeah, Israel could have ended this on day one, bitch. Fuck you.
There was actually a ceasefire.
Also, the idea that Hamas could have ended this on day one is fucking extra ridiculous considering the fact that they did try and were met with, fuck you. What the hell are you talking about? They literally did try. They tried over and over again. They've set forward like 35 different ceasefire agreements since the first week. What are we talking about here, man? What the hell is this?
Before October 7th, on October 6th, that Hamas destroyed in the most barbaric way possible, humanly imaginable. But every day after that, Hamas could have decided to give up the hostages, stop hiding behind civilians, put down its weapons, and all of this would have been over. It still has that possibility. The quickest way for this to end is for Hamas to give up the hostages. We will get a ceasefire that we can build on and build to something more lasting and more durable. The different teams continue to talk. It remains our view that the fastest way to get to a ceasefire, the fastest way to get hostages home is through an agreement. And we're determined every single day to pursue that and to try to get it to happen. I think you can question whether Hamas actually wants to get this. It would also be the best way to make sure that we can really surge humanitarian assistance and better protect civilians in Gaza. Hamas purports to be interested in that. Its actions certainly demonstrate the opposite.
All right. Secretary.
Bro, they have no power. They have no power in this process. They can't magically stop. They can't magically fucking stop Israeli rockets. Like, there's nothing they can do. The only thing they can do is try to get a ceasefire agreement that is a permanent ceasefire with hostage swaps. And they've literally time and time again mentioned how to get there. But it doesn't fucking matter. It literally does not matter. Meanwhile, again, while we're having this conversation, here's Ryan Grimm pushing the spokesperson for the State Department on the issue of 20 doctors being fucking stranded, 20 American doctors being stranded behind Israeli siege and facing dehydration. Here's the back and forth.
That there are two medical missions of American citizens, doctors who are at the European hospital in Khan Yunis facing dehydration. At least one of them is on an IV drip now. Our understanding is that relatives have been in touch with the State Department, U.S. administration. Is there anything you can say about efforts to get them out? And was the UN vehicle that was on the way to the European hospital part of those efforts?
So let me start with the second part. I'm not sure of the operational and logistical specifics of what was involved in those specific efforts or not, but I can say is that we're aware of these reports of U.S. citizens, doctors, and medical professionals currently unable to leave Gaza. As I said before, we don't control this border crossing, and this is a incredibly complex situation that has very serious implications for the safety and security of U.S. citizens, but we're continuing to work around the clock with the government of Israel, with the government of Egypt, to work on this issue, not just to address the very serious humanitarian assistance concerns that I just talked about, but as you so pointed out, and Matt have addressed before, Rafah is a conduit for the safe departure of foreign nationals, which is why we continue to want to see it get opened as swiftly as possible.
And what does it say about conditions more generally in Rafah and in Khan Yunis if American doctors who only arrived there recently are already suffering from dehydration and malnutrition?
So look, we have not.
Bro, Fat Sagar really sucks ass. I mean, thank you for that. Thank you for that moment, like a brief moment of solace there. Fat Sagar. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Skinny Sagar sucks too. Yeah. Both Ozempic Sagar and also non-Ozempic Sagar both suck in different ways. So look, you know a banger is coming anytime they start a sentence with that? Yeah, exactly. So look, at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And obviously, you chatters have a right to defend yourselves, and you're going to be exercising that right at the top of the hour with a $5 a month subscription or a free one in the form of a Twitch Prime. Now, obviously, international assistance could come in the form of a gifted sub for you if you're lucky. But the 3-minute ad break is going to happen to you whether you have an issue with it or not. And that's the unfortunate reality. Okay? That's it. You're going to see a 3-minute ad break now. I'm serving it. Gonna see a 3-minute ad break now. I'm serving it. I started feeding my dog her own eye burgers because you said you did, and it makes her so happy. Thanks, dude. Yeah, I don't know why dogs love eating their eye boogers, but Lemon Fairy, thank you for the 5 gifted subs in the form of international assistance. There you go. Allowing 5 people to no longer be hit by the top of the hour ad break. Let's continue.
Not been unambiguous about the humanitarian situation in Gaza. It is a crisis. No amount of humanitarian aid at this moment is enough. We need to be doing everything we can to get more humanitarian aid, food, medicine, water, other appropriate supplies into Gaza. And that is why you have seen this administration champion really an all of the above approach when it comes to humanitarian aid. We have been engaging directly with partners in the region to ensure that every crossing possible that can allow for the access of trucks and other things is able to make its way into Gaza. You have seen us undertake airdrops. You've seen our partners in Jordan undertake airdrops, and we're continuing to press and hope that this maritime corridor is a conduit, and we believe that will be the case very soon as well.
Oh, dude, why the need for airdrops, man? Why? A question, please. A question that demands an answer. You keep talking about these fucking airdrops, and it's like there's literally ground access. It's not like Gaza is a fucking island, dude. Fuck you mean airdrops? Who is cutting off access? Who's cutting off access to aid on the ground from the many different ways in which a shit ton more aid could be received? The answer to that question is Israel. It is a direct violation of human rights that Israel is doing, while we are specifically getting, while they're specifically getting weapons from us to do so. Yeah. Meanwhile, do you want to know what happens to the aid? Today at noon, Trachomia checkpoint. We did what we could to stop the hundreds of settlers from destroying food that was supposed to feed tens of thousands in Gaza, and for a moment it seemed that we succeeded. But there were only 2 of us. Next, we will reach hundreds.
זורקים בפעם השנייה אחרי שכבר העמסנו הכל וסגרנו, זורקים בפעם השנייה, זורקים את כל
Like this person was trying to stop the fucking freaks in the back from destroying the food trucks, destroying the aid on the food trucks. But unfortunately, because there are only 2 people, okay, 2 very kind individuals, the other people back there are the vile scumbags that fucking are destroying the aid on top of the fucking aid trucks, the food trucks that are already being blocked from going into Gaza anyway. How insane is this?
עם מטריות אינסטנט שהיו אמורות להגיע לעזה. זה מה שהם עושים. אפשר לראות שהצבא פה, המשטרה כבר הלכה, הצבא לא עוצר אותם, לא מעניין אותם, נותנים להם לזרוק את הכל. אחרי שעמדנו פה וחטפנו מהם.
Oh my God, these inbred fucking douchebags in the background, dude. Jesus Christ, dude. Just like... She's saying the military isn't stopping them. Yeah. Oh, that's the other part of this too. The military absolutely does not fucking do anything to stop them. It's food. They're destroying food, chatters.
אם אנחנו לא נתעורר ונתנגד להם, הם האנשים שכבר מנהיגים את...
Polar Bear, do you know what that logo is? I don't, I'm asking. Or time without a OWO. I don't know if you're in the chat right now or not, but these are pogroms. Yeah, I mean, these guys love doing fucking pogroms. Like, that's their favorite shit. Ninth Oath or something, isn't it? I don't know. Why doesn't the media cover this? Bro, because this would make Israel look really fucking bad. What do you mean? That's why I say Israeli human rights organizations and even Israeli outlets from time to time do a better job covering these fucking freaks than American media does. Okay? It's just like, I was shocked to see the CNN reporting. It came months after other outlets like 972 Magazine and Local Call had already done extensive coverage on the Negev base that was also being used as like a torture facility, basically a concentration camp for the Palestinians apprehended and released, mind you. Okay? For months we've known that Sdei Teiman, okay, has been used as a concentration camp, as a holding facility for any and every fucking male Palestinian they apprehend, that they humiliate and make sit on their knees and shit. You know how they like strip them and then act like they're all Hamas? That's where they ship those dudes off to. They're all civilians for the most part. They ship them there and they ship them there and then they torture them there and then they release them, knowing full well that it doesn't even matter because the media doesn't give a shit. They're not going to cover it, except the CNN did actually cover it finally after months and months and months. But you know who covered it first? Israeli media. Israeli investigative reporters covered that shit way before CNN did. Another aid truck has been caught on fire. Update, another aid truck has just been set on fire by Israeli settlers. Jesus Christ.
אנחנו במחסום תרקומיה, תראו, חבר'ה פה, לא מפחדים, בחורות, בחורים, איזה יופי, עושים את המשאיות של החמאס, מקסימה, איזה יופי, תראו, אנחנו במחסום...
Meanwhile, on the other hand, on the offensive front, the IDF is literally fucking shooting. The IDF is literally shooting UN convoys and shit that are trying to get to the goddamn doctors, the American doctors that are fucking dehydrated in a hospital. These American doctors that went there recently, mind you. But then Israel decided to siege Rafah anyway. There is no salvation. Like there is no way to like look at this and be like, this is actually permissible. This is actually perfectly valid. It just doesn't make sense. Here's the translated article from BM. I really hate you. Two brave Israeli women tried to prevent the state-backed settler mob from destroying aid sent to Gaza this morning. Unfortunately, they were helpless in front of the hundreds of bloodthirsty maniacs. Attaches their full account from today. A group of settlers from the Order 9 organization and their supporters received this information and came to block the crossing with their private vehicles. They climbed onto the trucks that were waiting to enter and dumped thousands of sacks of rice, sugar, and hot meals. At the same time, there were very few security forces and police on the scene who did nothing to stop the destruction but stood aside, even when the social activist Netanyahu Tabib and Sapir Slutzker Imran asked for their help and were threatened with knives. One of the settlers even attacked Slutzker Imran and slapped her with his fists, but the policeman ran away. The policeman ran him away. They refused to detain him, and he returned to the destruction backed by the police. Although the whole event started already at 10 in the morning, the police did not call for additional forces and did not try to block the arrival of the criminals, including minors and armed settlers. At the first round The settlers drove to the checkpoint in an attempt to stop more trucks. During this time, we helped the truck drivers reload the equipment on the trucks before returning back to their point of departure. After about an hour, a large group of nearly 150 people, including miners, arrived and then managed to dismantle and destroy all the goods that were still on the trucks with knives, sharp pieces of wood, and axes, damaged the equipment, and threatened the workers, the Palestinians. In that time, we did not see a single arrest, and all was done was the useless removal of a few who immediately returned to continue. Today, it was just the two of us. Next time, we must come in dozens and hundreds to stop these criminal acts of hate, which also caused the continuation of the violent war in Gaza, endangering the abductees and all of us. The settlers say they want to pressure Hamas into this disgrace, but there is no justification for the destruction of basic food for innocents. This is an act of revenge and starvation. We came back bruised, but we will not stand back. It's Google translated from their Facebook post earlier today. This is why I say, the Israeli government's actions are akin to ISIS, closer to ISIS than anything else. Is there any way to make media like CNN report on shit like this, mass tagging them on social media? It's sad to say, but the only way that you can get the media to ever cover this shit properly is when it goes viral on TikTok, like the Palestine-Ohio derailment. Because, I mean, and even then, rarely do they ever actually cover it. The only other way that the media ever covers it unconditionally is if a white person is in the crosshairs, which is why the 20 American doctors play a very important role in this situation. Okay? Or if a reporter is killed by these psychos, fuck no. Shireen Abu Akleh was murdered by an Israeli sniper. It didn't do shit. The American media literally did not care. It was an American Palestinian journalist, a very famous journalist. They do not care. The Associated Press building was blown up by Israel in that same time frame. The American media did not care. The only reason why the attitude has changed is because there is a dramatic amount of coverage now outside of mainstream media. So the media has to respond to it because they do still have to maintain the at least like the aesthetics. They still have to maintain the aesthetics that they are like relatively impartial, or that they are doing their very best to offer coverage on all fronts. Because if they don't do that, every day that they don't do that, less people trust them. More and more people leave mainstream media. So that's why there's a little bit of a give and take. White House comments on the video. The White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that the Biden administration is examining what tools we have to respond to the blocking of aid trucks from Jordan passing through Israel on the way to Gaza by right-wing activists. It is shocking that there are people who attack and loot the trucks that come from Jordan to Gaza. We are taking the Israelis at the highest level, talking to the Israelis at the highest level. This is completely unacceptable behavior. Yeah. A better statement in this circumstance would be to mention that this has been ongoing and that America is going to threaten further removal of aid to Israel and will no longer offer weapons transfers, which they shouldn't have already. Like, instead of this bullshit, like what tools we have, said that the Biden administration is examining what tools we have. Instead of doing this fucking classic, like, oh, well, we are beginning to investigate the investigations that might be coming down the line after Israel has done a self-examining and a reflection on the actions collectively that we will all think about thoroughly. Like that kind of bullshit. They have no leverage, Hassan. Yes, they do. What are you talking about? We are America. You know what leverage we have beyond endless political cover that we're fucking offering Israel? We could literally fucking do Iraq to Israel if we wanted to. Okay? Shut the fuck up. No, leverage my ass. I'm losing my mind a little bit here. Like, Israel is small bean, but so is America? Is that where we're at now? Oh, it was a joke? Jesus Christ. We could literally fucking invade Tel Aviv tomorrow. The fuck do you mean we have no leverage? It's, of course, unconscionable and completely beyond the scope of reason because we only do that to foreign adversaries.
The start of this, that you don't believe what's happening in Gaza is genocide. What criterion are you using?
We're using the internationally accepted term for genocide, which includes a focus on intent. And it's not just me standing here at this podium. In the context of this International Court of Justice case at The Hague, the United States actually made a presentation backed up by legal analysis, which I would invite you to read because it lays out all of those criteria.
Francesca Albanese, the Special UN Rapporteur on Human Rights in Palestine, presented one in March. She presented it in Geneva. The 3 criteria she used, citing international law, 3 acts: Israel's intent to destroy national, ethnic, racial, or religious groups, serious bodily or mental harm to a group, inflicting on a group conditions of life calculated to bring physical destruction in whole or in part within imposing measures intended to prevent birth within a group, process of erasure of the native Palestinians. So those 3 things are happening. How can you say genocide's not being committed?
As I just told you, I think the best way for me to answer that question is actually to ask you to look at the laydown that we gave, which...
Are you saying this isn't happening?
I'm sorry, I thought you asked me how I can say it. I'm saying I'd like you to look at the United States'
I'm asking you saying this isn't happening.
Do you mind if I finish answering your question before you interrupt?
Are you saying that she's a liar?
The United States has laid down at the International Court of Justice in writing, in detail, its position on this issue, and I'd ask you to read it. Thank you.
Are you saying that it doesn't line up for them with what she's saying? Thank you, Jen.
I don't know what to say. They don't have a leg to stand on, man. They don't. Are people, NGOs, gathering information, evidence on people who advocate for genocide, destroy humanitarian convoys so that one day justice will be done? I would like to help. I mean, there are people who are, filming all this stuff, but there's just so much, dude. There is so much. And the reality is, as long as the American government continues this kind of attitude, this kind of block and push methodology for Israel's actions, it doesn't matter. You can fucking document everything, but there's no enforcement. Without the United States go ahead, there's no fucking enforcement on all of the documented evidence. That's it. 20 years from now, all those fuckers will be say they're against it. I mean, I don't even know. I think we'll just look at it like worst case scenario, we look at it like the indigenous genocide, right? Another settler colonial genocidal state, the United States of America, and its actions. Best case scenario, we look at it like the civil rights movement or the previous apartheid in South Africa. We're gonna get to the UN estimates, but yeah, U.S. and Israel are struggling over what the theory of victory is. The deputy secretary says to Kyle Atwood, they talk about mostly the idea of some sort of sweeping victory on the battlefield, total victory. I don't think we believe that is likely or possible. U.S. officials increasingly openly saying that Israel's strategy isn't working. Blinken, even if Israel goes in and takes heavy action in Rafah, there will still be thousands of armed Hamas left in areas that Israel has cleared in the north, and even in Khan Yunis, Hamas is coming back. A Rafah operation would cause really significant civilian casualties, while Israel would also be able to kill some Hamas folks. Many Hamas folks would melt away because they're terrorists. Israel wants its fall of Baghdad moment in Gaza, but if America had then followed it with the expulsion of millions of Iraqis on foot into Jordan. Every liberal loves reinventing the Nakba like they just came up with it on their own. Yeah. Why hasn't there been more push by activists to take in Gazan refugees in the West? Would save thousands of lives. Israel presumably signed a treaty to guarantee they'd be allowed back if we evacuated them for a year. This would dramatically reduce Hamas's odds of victory. Thanks, man. That seems like a great idea. Except one, nobody wants to have Muslim refugees. None of the Western world wants that shit. And two, what about all the people that are not going to be interested in leaving? Because that's precisely what happened early on in the first iteration of the Nakba. And last but not least, Israel's going to let them return? Sure, dude. I love when the uninitiated, who are just completely oblivious, chirp and talk about this sort of thing, considering that the right of return is a major point of contention. It's like they're in the Gaza Strip for a fucking reason and not in their villages that their ancestors lived in for hundreds of years. And also in Jordan and southern Lebanon and Syria and many other places. And also in the Western world as well. How do you reconcile the fact that Kingdom of Israel was before all of that? The Kingdom of Israel? Man, I don't give a fuck. What the fuck kind of dumb shit is this? What kind of bedtime story are you telling people? I don't give a fuck. Oh, okay. All people came from Africa originally. Like, how far back are we going? What kind of psychopathic blood and soil argument is this, dude? It's so fucking stupid. Right to return was your argument, not mine. Yeah, dude. Right to return for the fucking millions of Palestinians who were living in their ancestral homes before Zionists came in and fucking kicked them out, only to never allow them to return again. The reality is Native Americans would be closer to justifiably removing white American settlers from their fucking homes. And even that would be an act of cruel and unusual punishment. Okay? But before that, when does your history start is so stupid? Because here's how history doesn't work, you fucking idiot, you absolute dingus. Okay? Do you know who the Israeli forces are killing right now? They're killing the same fucking descendants of the people that you're talking about. Many of the people in Gaza, many of the Palestinians that live there, okay, that are now declared Palestinian, are literally descendants, direct descendants of the very same Jews who lived in Judea and Samaria, okay? They simply converted to Christianity and then Islam. But of course, that doesn't change the reality for many Zionists when they declare them to be subhuman, because a lot of the Israeli Zionist attitude revolves around having it be a Judeo-ethno-state, a Judeo-supremacist ethno-state. This is an idiotic assessment that you would never in a million years make for any other circumstance. If Native Americans had nukes and full support of the Chinese government or something, and literally were just like using military means to just rip Americans out of their homes and doing like Deir Yassin in the fucking heartland or in the middle of New York, okay? You would find that to be unconscionable. You'd be like, that's insane. And guess what? They have a closer history and were directly genocided by the ancestors of the people that we're talking about. Meanwhile, the Palestinians that live there had nothing to do with the fucking Holocaust. As a matter of fact, tens of thousands of Palestinians died fighting against the Nazis. Before you talk about the Grand Mufti, a British colonial, a British colonial appointed position. I don't think that you know the history, or even if you learn the history, you will change your fucking mind. I'm sorry, I don't think you're open-minded. When you come in here with some unhinged shit like this, it just doesn't seem like you are legitimately invested in this. I'm being called a colonizer for asking who the indigenous people of a land are. I get what you're saying, it is intermingled, but describe to me what a Palestinian is. Describe to me what an American is. Americans, the United States of America, people that live in the boundaries of the United States of America. Palestinians are the people that historically lived in that boundary, okay? That carve-out existed, whether you like to admit it to yourself or not. That's why it was called the British Mandate Palestine. This is so funny. Lady, this is like smugly informing someone that their version of events is contradicted by Jack and the Giant Beanstalk. Yeah, this is so funny. She's saying that if I were an Egyptian descended from ancestors who enslaved Hebrews thousands of years ago, I would avoid discussing slavery or Jewish aspirations to enslave others. Like, what are we doing here, man? What the fuck are we doing? The irony also is that even if there was never historical record for Palestine or Palestinians, people still lived there. Okay? Why did you steal a smaller streamer's tweet? What tweet did I steal? Wait, hold on. Why'd you guys ban him? I want to know what the fuck that was about. Why did you steal a small streamer's tweet, bruh? You gotta unban that guy. I want to know what the fuck he's talking about. Bruh. I think they're talking about a Kendrick Lamar v. Drake tweet. Well, which one? Whose supposed tweet did I fucking steal? That's funny. I would love this thought process because it would mean the Welsh and Scots would be allowed to force out all the Anglo-Saxons. That's what I'm talking about. What were they on, brother? You're unbanned, Vault 69. First statement in the fucking chat. Why did you steal a small streamer's tweet? Also, it's really interesting that he's saying this when he doesn't know that Jews have the power to part the Red Sea, by the way. Interesting. You should not be talking a big game like this unless you want me to come over and part your fucking pool, okay? You'd be speaking very differently, Bassem Youssef. Me to come over and part your fucking pool, okay? You'd be speaking very differently, Bassem Youssef. Yeah, that's right. You're going to be speaking very differently when the frogs start flying, okay? When there's literally rainfall when there's literally rainfall of frogs, okay, you're going to be speaking a very different tune. Yo, real though, that in that fucking scene in Prince of Egypt was fire. Yeah. Yeah. Wait until the locusts come, huh? Or when all the firstborns, wait until all of your firstborns are dead. He posted a link. I can't link it. Is this? I'm your ghostwriter, son. Drake linking with his ghostwriters. Was this at 5:52 May 4th versus this guy who follows me. Bro, this guy posted it literally 6 minutes before I did. You think I saw his fucking post in 6 minutes? First of all, if you were in here on that day, you would know that it wasn't even my fucking take. It was another chatter who was making that joke before me that I stole from. I don't even remember who it was. Also, I made that joke probably before he did. I spent like 10 minutes trying to literally figure out how to post the video. It's all literally on the record. It took me more than 10 minutes to fucking figure out how to download the video. I did it all live. So suck my fucking dick. Dumb chatter. People had posted that clip a full day before you got to it. Literally everyone posted that clip. Yeah. Anyway, but thank you for coming in here and correcting the record, chatter. You did it. Fighting for justice. Oh, shit. Hold on. Stop posting the fucking... No, it's not room service. I ordered Uber. Try to be like, you stole my tweet. Meanwhile, they stole the clip from a whole ass TV show. Not like they made the show. Yeah. I'm going to start watching your streams and tweet out what you're saying right before you tweet it so you can steal all my tweets. Yeah, I know. Oh, brother. Where the fuck were we? All right, let's continue. Bernie Sanders popping off.
Now is the independent senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders. Senator Sanders, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you.
Well,
going back to Israel is crazy law. The same thing people find absurd about Putin's historical justification for invading Ukraine. We have to go back to the year 400. They simultaneously turn around and use to say Israel's the holy land of the Jews going back 4,000 years. Yeah, exactly. It's fucking ridiculous. Like the idea that even if there was no Palestinian history, no Palestinian land, none whatsoever, the notion that you could just like go there and operate as a settler colonial operation and just like fucking purge the villages and then never allow them to return is unconscionable. It's so fucking ridiculous, dude. It's so goddamn ridiculous. No, that was your argument, Law. What does right to return mean? Right to return for the Palestinians that were pushed away from their villages by psychopathic, rabid, rapist, Zionist terrorists. Okay? Genuine question, how is the United States anything like Judea and Samaria? Their history is so different. I don't understand why you compare their history as if they're apples to apples. I don't think you will understand what I am saying because you're too fucking hopped up on the Zionist programming that it is impossible for you to comprehend a world where it is not okay to destroy the indigenous population of a land or in any case whatsoever. Like, that's why I gave you the example of Native Americans. If Native American tribes somehow got fucking nukes and shit, okay, and were propped up by an infinitely more powerful force, it's not even a comparison that we can make because America is the hegemonic superpower. But if aliens came down and were like, yo, the Native American tribes are actually going to do mass genocide, permanent genocide of the first world, even then there is a direct reason as to why, there's a direct reason as to why they would be able to do that, unlike the Israeli settlers, the early Zionists that weren't even Israeli at that point, okay, wiping out Palestinian villages that had nothing to do with them whatsoever. But even then, if Native Americans were armed to the fucking teeth by aliens, okay, in a way that is infinitely more powerful than America, it still would be unconscionable for them to go and like wipe out New York and push everybody away into Mexico or some shit, okay? Or push everyone into fucking Florida and then keep bombing them mercilessly and consistently. You're insane. The right to return for Palestinians is the right for them to go back to their fucking homes, man, to their villages, to be able to have full citizenship. It's not that complex. You are just dancing around the actual issue because you personally don't want to fucking give them that, okay? That's it. Because demographic concerns. Ask Hamas to stop. Then, yeah, dude, in 1948, Hamas was definitely operational. You said right to return from land you were pushed off of, so that's what you are defining right to return as? But what I'm saying is, how do you reconcile the right to return of Jews, Kingdom of Israel's before any event you said? Brother, you are literally schizophrenic, okay? If you think that there is a valid comparison between 4,000 years of history and you are not hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth, I'm telling you, okay? Let's not go 4,000 years in history. Let's go to like, I don't know, 300, 400 years back in history. If the Native Americans came in and killed all Americans, it would still be completely unimaginably cruel and would not be acceptable. Okay? What the fuck are you saying? Kingdom of Israel, right to return. Right to return for Jews only. No one else. That's you. That's what you sound like. You fucking dumb bitch. Fuck. It's additionally stupid. It's additionally fucking stupid because you're literally talking about killing the people that literally stayed there. I didn't even say anything bad about you, Hassan. No disrespect. Man, I don't give a fuck if you personally disrespect me or not. Okay? You are disrespecting millions of fucking Palestinians by invoking that Jews have a right to return to Israel, and that actually encompasses a far more important right, that sovereignty allows Israel to do genocide to the Palestinian population over and over again. You're defending genocide. That is infinitely more disgusting than any number of different things you could say to me, okay? You can disrespect me all fucking day. I don't give a shit. What you are doing in an effort to defend genocide in the midst of an ethnic cleansing campaign is far more disrespectful than any number of different things you could say to me that is bad, okay? Oh, I wasn't actually personally offending you. I don't personally see that. I was just asking to clarify the position. If you argue indigenous people are right to a land that is intrinsic, well, how do we define who is indigenous? That's my question. Brother, I don't think you understand it. I don't think you understand what I'm saying at all. You literally, it's like this, okay? If I came to your house, okay, and killed you, and alongside with a bunch of other Native American people, okay, I just broke through your door and fucking massacred your whole family. You had to flee. I put you in basically an open air prison. I pushed you away from your fucking home. And then I turned around and said, listen, dog, people just fucking lived here before you. Sorry. You would be feeling some type of fucking way. You're like, what do you mean people used to live here? I lived here for hundreds of fucking years. This is the house that my parents lived in. The fuck are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about? You wouldn't go, well, technically, these people were indigenous 4,000 years ago. You would never make that argument. It's so fucking stupid. I agree with that, obviously. No, you fucking don't. Because the irony of what you are explaining is that if you go back 4,000 fucking years, the Palestinians that you understand as Palestinians, Muslims, Christians, and even some Palestinian Jews, as a matter of fact, that were there in 1948 and even before 1948 were like direct descendants of those who remained in Judea and Samaria. They were Jews originally, and then they converted. This is not a gotcha, man. Stop. Just shut the fuck up, please. I don't know why I'm trying to get I don't know why I'm trying to get this information over your dense fucking skull, because you will never understand that. Important to clarify, we're not even saying Jews aren't allowed to live on that land. They were living there before the Zionist project. The Israel people are allowed to live there, just not continue to uphold an apartheid state. Exactly.
We appreciate your being here on a busy Sunday morning. I want to start with your reaction to that State Department.
Look, now he moved on, and there was no violence for Jews. You only paint one side of history. Yes, dude. Except the Palestinians didn't do the Holocaust. The Palestinians didn't do the fucking pogroms. The Palestinians that are being killed since 1948, and even before then, had nothing to do with any of that shit. Okay? You can't just randomly turn around, move the goalposts, and decide that, like, no, we're going to kill these people because the Bible said so, because 4,000 years ago we used to live here. Except those people are literally direct descendants of the people that we're talking about, but it doesn't really matter. Fuck them. I want this land, and it's mine now. I mean, the Palestinian, bro, I knew that this talking point was coming literally 8 steps ago. That's why I addressed it 12 minutes ago. Someone clip it. Someone send the clip to this fucking dumbass so we can watch it. I knew that you were going to make this talking point. I knew that you were, it's not that I have precog, okay? I know Hasbara. I know propaganda. I pre-debated the position that you literally were going to arrive at once we exhausted the other idiotic fucking position that you put forward. I pre-debated you and won! XD. I addressed the idiotic mufti talking point ahead of time because I knew you would inevitably, when you're like a little fucking debate, bro, instead of trying to find the truth, that's why you're a shit content creator. What do you mean you're the one who's trying to debate instead of finding the truth, you fucking dumbass? I gave you what the truth is, and I knew you were going to use that as a talking point. God damn, dude. You are such a fucking sad, pathetic fucking loser. Enjoy your genocidal apartheid regime, okay? Enjoy it. It will crumble before our fucking eyes because the contradictions are too heavy for it to keep self-sustaining. The moment is turning, bitch. The world recognizes. The world recognizes what is going on. Inshallah, the Zionist apparatus, the apartheid regime will dissolve in front of our eyes in my fucking lifetime. Okay, here's the Mufti clip, by the way. Before you talk about the Grand Mufti, a British colonial, a British colonial appointed position. I don't think that you know the history, or even if you learn the history, you will change your fucking mind. I'm sorry, I don't think you're open-minded. When you come in here with some unhinged shit like this, it just doesn't seem like you are legitimately invested in this. Before you talk about the Grand Mufti, no, earlier, before that, I mentioned instead of the Grand Mufti, which was an appointed position, I also talked about how 10,000 plus Palestinians died fighting against Nazi Germany. Okay? That was literally, when was that? Is there a time anywhere? That was 1:55. Minute 1:55. Yeah, that was like 30 minutes before you decided to deploy that talking point, you dumb fuck. That's how fucking stupid you are. Okay? That's how fucking dumb you are. If you opened your goddamn ears, you would recognize that I already know all the fucking dumbass talking points you could possibly put forward. Jesus Christ, I have to fucking deal with this shit on a daily basis. Oh my God. You really follow the devil's advocate formula to a start. First start by asking a stupid question to get a reaction, then debate the answers to the question, then move on to another question, then say, lol, I was just asking questions. Exactly.
Report and what you just heard from the Secretary of State who defended the report, the fact that there was no definitive conclusion drawn. He also said he has not seen a definitive plan from Israel to go into Rafah without mitigating civilian casualties. What was your takeaway, Senator?
Well, Chris and I have a lot of respect for Tony Blinken. He has an impossibly difficult job. But
Boo, Bernie.
The reality is I think any objective observer knows Israel has broken international law. It has broken American law. And in my view, Israel should not be receiving another nickel in U.S. military aid. Look, the facts are quite clear. Hamas is a terrible, disgusting terrorist organization that began this war. But what Israel has done over the last 7 months is not just gone to war against Hamas, it has gone to war against the entire Palestinian people, and the results have been absolutely catastrophic. I mean, Kristen, we're talking about not just 35,000 Palestinians dead and 77,000 wounded, 2/3 of whom are women and children. That is not the way you conduct a war in a civilized society to the degree that war is civilized. We're talking about 60% of the housing in Gaza having been destroyed. The civilian...
I can't watch this, bro. I can't fucking watch this. It's just like, it breaks my fucking heart. Hamas started this war? Come on, dude. I'm skipping it. I can't listen to Bernie Sanders, dude. Do you expect them to praise Hamas? No, dumbass. I don't expect them to praise Hamas. Do I fucking sit around praising Hamas every day? Is that what I do here? Am I always like, I love Hamas so much, Al-Qassam Brigades for the win? Is that what I say? No. There's obviously a difference between praising Hamas and a difference between recognizing that Israel is an apartheid regime that set out a slow cooker that would inevitably yield violent resistance over the course of 75 fucking years. Okay? Do you not find that there's a little bit of daylight between those two? I'm just saying, give him a break. He's better than most. No, I expect him to be infinitely better than all. That's Bernie fucking Sanders. That's ridiculous. It breaks my goddamn heart to see such an important figure in American politics basically fucking hit the same exact goddamn liberal Zionist line that you hear from like a Democratic senator from fucking Maryland, you know what I mean? With a shit ton of funding from AIPAC. I still obviously will always have a lot of love for Bernie Sanders in my heart for everything he's done in advancing socialism in America in general. But this stuff is just like not something I can watch. It breaks my heart. Yes, of course I campaigned for Bernie. I maxed out the Bernie. I campaigned for him. And the reality is, like, all things considered, with the exception of this, and even on this issue, he's still far greater than the average American politician. I just expect more from him. I expect him to be truthful. Why do you expect so much from sock dems and dem socks? Okay, bro. Yes. I'm sorry that Bernie is not unconditionally offering support to Stalin or some shit, or whatever your Jason Unruhe fan court has decided is actually the best way to talk about it.
Republicans are criticizing President Biden for pausing the delivery of high payload bombs to Israel. At a Wednesday hearing on the Defense Department budget, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham grilled Pentagon leaders.
If we stop weapons necessary to destroy...
Is it possible he's talking from a framing that will appeal to more people? No, that's just cope, man. This is who he is. This is what he believes on Israel. There's a reason why I haven't been watching a lot of Bernie Sanders stuff since October 7. His rhetoric on the matter went from worse to just like still pretty fucking bad. What? Megaphonic says, to be honest, before 10-7, I think he was fairly aligned with the mainstream leftist position on Israel-Palestine, but 10-7 pushed him forward the Zionist side, whereas Israel's response pushed many of his supporters in the opposite direction, hence the schism. Yeah. It's ridiculous that he's saying, like, dude, anyone that says Hamas started this war, I mean, that's crazy. That is an insane fucking statement to make. It's just directly abject ahistorical nonsense. And it hurts my soul to see someone who I love so much repeat that fucking propaganda line. I expect more from Bernie Sanders. It just kills my confidence in him. The slaves in the antebellum South started the violent repression in the Nat Turner Rebellion. The Holocaust was started when a Warsaw Ghetto resistance forces comprised of Jews decided to break out. Those would be ridiculous things to say. It's really so fucked to argue that stance when you frame it in relation to any other historical equivalent. Yeah, it is. And that's precisely the way I'm doing that. Anyway, you're about to see some insane shit from Lindsey Graham, who is, I mean, just an overall nutter, okay?
Delivery of high payload bombs to Israel. At a Wednesday hearing on the Defense Department budget, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham grilled Pentagon leaders.
If we stop weapons necessary to destroy the enemies of the state of Israel at a time of great peril, we will pay a price. This is obscene. It is absurd. Give Israel what they need to fight the war they can't afford to lose. This is Hiroshima and Nagasaki on steroids.
And Senator Lindsey Graham joins me now. Senator Graham, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate that very much. Look, you have been quite clear as
Happy Mother's Day. It's time to nuke Gaza and glass those Palestinian dogs as they are barking. Happy Mother's Day. I'm here to tell you about why we must nuke Gaza.
That you are opposed to President Biden's threat to withhold military aid if Israel does invade Rafah. But let me ask you this question. Why shouldn't Israel's war against Hamas proceed in a more precise way with a clear plan to mitigate civilian deaths in Gaza?
Well, I think it's impossible to mitigate civilian deaths in Gaza as long as Hamas uses their own population as human shields. I've never seen in the history of warfare such blatant efforts by an enemy, Hamas, to put civilians at risk. And the last thing you want to do is reward this behavior.
This is so, like, insane. Bro. The only reason why this is even a conversation because Israel is killing civilians. That's it. Like, that's the only reason why this is even a point of contention. Because no other force throughout history, well, with the exception of some, at least in contemporary history, has been so fucking ruthless upon a civilian population. The only other clear-cut examples are, again, now recognized as genocide. as this will be in the future as well.
They put weapons in mosques. They fire artillery rounds from apartment buildings. They put command centers under hospitals. Put weapons in mosques. They fire artillery rounds from apartment buildings. They put command centers under hospitals to maximize civilian casualties as Israel tries to...
I apologize. I should have said no other force outside of America.
...destroy the terrorist group. You don't want to reward this by restricting weapons to the victim of their attack. But let me just say this. This is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. But this is a tough time for the world. What Senator Sanders said, not another nickel of military aid to the United States, is the most dangerous, irresponsible statement in the history of the U.S. relationship. This is not Vietnam. Israel is in a fight for their lives. Hamas says they will do it again and again and again. They're dedicated to the destruction of the Jewish state, not helping the Palestinian people. Iran, the great Satan, vows to destroy Israel. So does Hezbollah. Israel is surrounded by forces, terrorist groups that want to destroy the Jewish state, not help the Palestinians. This is 9/11 and Pearl Harbor all rolled into one. To abandon Israel under these circumstances would be outrageous, it would be dangerous, and Republicans are going to fight back against Bernie Sanders and the squad.
Senator, let me just push you a little bit, though, because, of course, the United States has provided Israel with tens of thousands of bombs and missiles just to prove some...
Bro, one other thing that doesn't get discussed a lot is seeing how passionate these guys get in their defense of Israel. Like, all things considered, it is a wild change of pace in comparison to any other issue that they're talking about. Like, they talk about Israel like it's their fucking children that are going to be murdered, assassinated if they don't give Israel the opportunity to use their nukes on Gaza or some shit.
$14 billion in military aid last month. So the United States, even the IDF has said, has given it an extraordinary amount of support. I want to ask you, though, do you think Israel is in any way prepared to listen to work with President Biden? And is he trustworthy? And let me ask it this way. In a survey this week, more than half of Israelis said they thought Prime Minister Netanyahu's chief consideration was his own political survival. You've said you trust Israel more than the U.S. Defense Secretary. But why should America...
Bro, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. That is the most god-dang un-American thing I've ever done heard, bro. He said he trusts the Israeli government more than he trusts the American Defense Department? What the fuck? That boy right there is doing treason. Oh, what is this? Check, this is a good contrast of what he's spewing. Pull this up. Yeah, we know, man. We know that Israel, like, directly uses Palestinian children as human shields when they're doing operations. We know. We know. I know it's a news story. I'm saying that it's just common practice in general. It's like coming in here and talking about the top of the hour ad break. It's going to happen. It happens all the fucking time at the top of every hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Any leftist using the same rhetoric with another nation will be crucified as a commie spy traitor. Yeah. Dude. Everything that the Israeli government says Hamas is doing, Israel has done 10 times worse, okay? It is always projection.
Trust Netanyahu to put the United States' interests first.
Americans should be all in helping Israel against an existential threat. The one thing Israel and America has in common, Hamas would attack us if they could. Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism that shouts death to America, and Hezbollah is in the same camp. I've never heard anybody in Israel chant death to America. The people Israel is fighting are bent on destroying all of the Jews.
Why would they say death to America, dumbass? We are facilitating and funding and offering political cover for their genocide. Take their toys away a little bit and you'll hear them fucking screaming some other shit. But as it stands, they have no fucking reason to say that. Another gamer is upset about wokeness and name dropping you. Wokeness? Name dropping me? I'm not woke, man. I'm an anti-white racist, remember?
Jews. This is Holocaust Remembrance Month, for God's sakes. We should unequivocally support Israel. Yes, work with them to limit civilian casualties. They want to do that. I know they do. They have a whole battalion dedicated to that.
I know they do. They told me. They told me they do. They said Prinky promised, Lindsay. Also, I don't know if you've considered this, but Israel has no extradition policy to the United States of America. And I would like to, you know, maybe move there one day after I get into legal trouble for the kinds of boy pussy that I might be inclined to investigate personally. Yeah, you know, you're talking about all the genocide, but you haven't thought about how I might be inclined to move down to Israel later in my life, in my yonder years, as it has no jurisdiction. It has no extrajudicial or no policy of sending people back to the United States of America.
Withholding weapons to Israel is rewarding the tactics of Hamas to put civilians at risk. Here's my statement to the administration. Sit down with Israel, keep the weapons flowing, and work out a plan, if you can, that gets us all to where we need to be. I talked with Israel this morning. They are discussing with the Biden administration a way forward. I am somewhat hopeful we can jump over this impasse, but do not let Bernie Sanders run this war. Bernie Sanders and the squad are insane when it comes to how to defend Israel. He just said on national television, cut off every nickel of military aid to the Jewish state who's being threatened with oblivion. Shut these people down. This decision was political. He's trying to appease the radical left Biden is.
Senator, just to be clear, the administration's position is not to cut off every nickel. And I guess the question is, why does Israel need the most massive bombs that can potentially level an entire block in order to wage this war? Why can't it be more precise?
Listen, you know, here's what I would say about fighting an enemy who wants to kill you and your family. Why did we drop 2 bombs, nuclear bombs, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end a war that we couldn't afford to lose? You don't understand, apparently, what Israel is facing. They're facing...
Bro said, Israel's facing the Imperial Japanese forces. Bro, that's a whole-ass state. A whole-ass state that was doing colonial violence. And even then, we did not have to fucking nuke Hiroshima nor Nagasaki, as a matter of fact. The idea that you would point to that to be like, yeah, and that's why Israel has the right to nuke Gaza is, I don't even know how to address this at that point. Like, what are you saying? This is Pearl Harbor and 9/11 all wrapped up into one for Israel. I guess the only reason why Israel hasn't nuked Gaza is because, like, they're far too close. You know what I mean? The nuclear fallout would also hurt Israel too. So once you start seeing Israeli citizens leave the Gaza envelope, you know, once they find like a safe distance, if you start watching Israeli citizens inside of the 67 boundaries move further and further away from the Gaza Strip, know that they're about to use a tactical nuke or some shit. Even though, why should they use a nuke? They've literally deployed multiple atomic bombs worth of munitions at this point.
3 groups. Iran, who has received $80 billion in aid. When Trump left office, they were exporting 300 barrels of oil a day. Now they're at 1.3 million a day. They've been enriched by Biden. They're taking that money to kill.
Why is Iran under such severe sanctions but still operating in the way that it does? I wonder if there was like a fucking unilateral deal that we put together that took over like 12 years to put together, and of course famously was signed off on by obviously a black president, and therefore that was unconscionable, and therefore it must be cast aside. That's what Trump did. You have Trump to thank for on that front.
All the Jews. So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose, and work with them to minimize casualties.
Senator, that military officials would argue that there has been so much technology since those bombs were dropped that for that very reason, that is why Israel and other developed countries can be more precise. But let me ask it this way, because President Biden is not the first president.
That's all you got for that? He just said nuke Gaza. She said, why would we have to nuke Gaza when Israel has more conventional weapons that it can use for more precise targeting? Like you don't have an issue with the nuking Gaza portion? Like that didn't even cross your mind? Like, I'm a bit of a woke ass pussy, okay? So obviously when I hear someone basically talking about like nukes, I'm like, hold up, that seems insane, actually. What are you saying? You seem like a bad person. Like, what the fuck do you mean? I wouldn't be like, well, why would they nuke? There's better ways of killing a bunch of people.
Use arms shipments to try to influence Israeli policy. As you know, former President Ronald Reagan on multiple occasions withheld weapons to impact Israel's military actions. Did President Reagan show that using U.S. military aid as leverage can actually be an effective way to rein in and impact Israel's policy?
When you're telling the world you're going to restrict weapons delivery to the Jewish state who is fighting a three-front war for their survival, it emboldens Iran, it emboldens Hamas. Sinwar is probably juiced up on the idea there's daylight between the United States and Israel. The hostage deal is harder. This is the worst decision in the history of the U.S. Israel relationship to deny weapons at a time the Jewish state could be destroyed.
I mean, he already said he trusts Israel more than he trusts his own fucking military. So, like, it's not that crazy that he would also attack another sacred cow in the Republican mythos, Ronald fucking Reagan. He's dick riding Israel so hard, he's like sidestepping the Ronald Reagan disagreement.
So here's what I would say. There is some hope we can get over this. Non-negotiable, the destruction of Hamas. Nobody in Israel will allow Hamas to be standing militarily or politically when this is over. How we get there is subject to negotiation. My problem is not with the weapons that Israel is using. My problem is with the tactics that Hamas is using and the idea that America would not send a nickel of aid, echoed by a United States senator when all the Jews are trying to be killed by radical Islamic groups, tells us where we're at as a nation.
What are you saying? He's on a different fucking planet, dude. He's like, all the Jews are under attack by radical Islamic Hamas. Like, what are we talking about, man? Bro thinks it's October 9. This is also part of the reason why I think it's fucking really annoying when Bernie Sanders doesn't come out stronger and like even engages in some like ahistorical bullshit when talking about Israel. Because, bro, they're calling you a bad Jew out here. Bernardo, they're calling you a bad Jew, bro. This fucking genteel piece of shit is calling you a bad Jew in broad daylight. Bernie, what are you doing? Talking about fucking how this war started by Hamas. This guy Albick is calling Bernie a fucking capo. And he's over here being like, no, you don't understand. Hamas started this war, actually. Like, he's saying you want the Jews dead, Bernie. That's what he's saying.
The Republican Party is with Israel without apology.
Well, historians would say, why is it okay for Reagan to do it and not President Biden? But let me ask you about
why is it okay?
Deal.
Well, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Why is he getting so passionate, bro? You're so insane, dude. Oh my God. Why is it okay for Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Yeah, great question. It wasn't okay, actually. So maybe you should reconsider everything else, you fucking asshole. Oh my God. It's like we did the big bad. Why can't Israel do the big bad too? Israel gets to nuke Gaza. I don't understand. We did a genocide of the Native Americans. Okay, we killed them Indians. All right. Israel gets to do that to the Palestinian Indians. Excuse me. Can you find excuses to do this accent more often? No.
To end their existential threat war. Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was.
But
okay.
It wasn't. And you're wrong. It was not. Oh my God. Okay.
To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state.
Senator, again, military officials say
Whatever
the
you have to
technology
do.
has changed. But let me ask you about how
Yeah,
all
these
of this
military
could
officials
impact.
that you're talking
Let me-
about
Let me ask you
are
something.
full of crap.
Let me ask you something that I know you care a lot about, and that is the Saudi normalization deal. How
Yes.
would a ground invasion into Rafah impact what you believe is critical, getting a deal for normalization in the region with Saudi Arabia?
Well, everybody knows that the House of Saud is also Hamas. Okay, if they tell Israel don't go into to Rafah, that means they're also Hamas. Hamas is taking over the House of Saud, which is why Israel should nuke Saudi Arabia. That's right, folks. I'm here to tell you right now, Israel gets the nuke. You know what? Fuck it. I'm in Seneca, South Carolina right now. If enough people in Seneca, South Carolina were also talking about how there needs to be a ceasefire, I'd be begging Israel to nuke me. Okay? That's right. Israel, nuke Langley, Virginia. Okay? Do you understand me? Israel gets to nuke them all. I think there's no other country on the planet other than Israel. It's the most moral nation on the planet. It's the most democratic nation on the planet. I think Israel should nuke Riyadh next. And then when they're done with that, they should turn their nuclear weapons in their arsenal to also Tehran, glass Iran. And if they're still not satiated with their bloodthirst, they should nuke D.C., Washington, D.C. That's right. That's right, folks. Israel could come and kill me right now. And I would say, thank you, sir. Give me more of that. Using our weapons, as a matter of fact. He's literally the meme. Yeah, I know. Holding Blood Feast is just straight up a real thing. Please, dear God, I want you to nuke me so bad. This is what I care about. South Carolina is one of the poorest states, okay? South Carolina, massive healthcare problems, healthcare complications. Do you think I give a fuck? Absolutely not. Kill all the poor, okay? Especially the black ones. You understand me? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about the poor. You know what I do give a shit about? Israel, okay? Israel now, Israel forever. Cham Israel Chai. That's right, I learned that. Them Jews were saying that earlier. I've been repeating it nonstop. Am Israel Chai. I heard it. They were saying it. I started repeating it. I've been saying it nonstop. As a Jew, I have to give you mad respect on that cha. You really hit it, bro. Hell yeah, dude. Lindsay would never be able to hit that cha, though. You got a little lost in that one. If you think I've lost it, then you weren't paying attention. It is kind of in a funny way. Who taught you Am Israel Chai? That's secret Jewish knowledge. No, it's not. Honestly, the more this continues, the more you hear how fucking unhinged these Republicans are. It is sadly not secret Jewish knowledge. Yeah. You can thank the Zionists for that, by the way. They say it all the fucking time. Oh my God. Not a day goes by. It's usually sandwiched between we are the victims and the Palestinians are fucking dogs. That's why even Lindsey Jebediah Graham would know the secret Jewish scrolls, the ancient tomes. Am Israel Chai. I'm telling you.
Question. Number one, I want to keep pursuing this because you asked Tony a good question. What happens the day after? To my friends in Israel, what happens the day after? To Tony, what happens the day after? I want the Arab world, the UAE and Saudi Arabia to come in and give the Palestinian people hope once we destroy Hamas. I want normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and that's the worst nightmare for Iran. That's why October 7th, I think, happened. Here's what's happening. When you deny Israel weapons, the Saudis are beginning to wonder, are we a good ally? Should I sign up to this? Will they turn on me if I get in a conflict? So I think the biggest threat to the deal is to use Rafah invasion.
My dad's a Zionist. He isn't a Jew, but me, my sisters, and my mom are. And he's literally the only Zionist. Says a lot. Yep. I mean, you just described America right there. The most rabid Zionists in this country, the most rabid Zionists in this country are not Zionist Jews, okay? I mean, some of them are rabid. Like, let's be real. Obviously, you see them fucking rocking JDL shit. You see them rocking the Kahana stuff. Obviously, those guys are, like, super extreme. But the most rabid and the most important political group, the most important group with outsized political power are evangelical Protestant Zionists, okay? They are insane. That's why you hear the likes of Mike Johnson. Okay, Rabbi Shmuley, fine. Like, yes, there are examples of rabid Zionist Jews as well. I'm telling you, though, the largest group of individuals in this country that are the most actively dick-riding Israel are not Zionist Jews. They are Zionist Christians. Jews are the most rabid Zionists. This is not fucking true. You, my friend, have never met an evangelical. With a name like Ozzy Warrior, I suspect that you have personally never met a psychopathic Southern Christian from a televangelist church. Hold on.
The deal is a negotiating tool to back Israel off. I am still going to pursue the deal. I hope we can get this issue with the weapons transfers behind us, and we can get back on setting the conditions where we can normalize between Saudi Arabia and Israel, and as part of that, have a new Palestinian opportunity where they'll have a better life when the Arabs help them rebuild Gaza and the West Bank with a new governing structure. I'm not giving up on that. I've just never been more worried about the signals we're sending to our enemies than I am right now. What we're doing to Israel is unconscionable, and it needs to stop. We need to be with Israel without apology.
Very quickly, Senator, before I let you go, a quick question about 2024. Will you accept the results of the 2024 election, no matter who
Oh, my God. Here we go.
wins?
Bullshit.
Yeah, I'll accept it. But I think, if there's no massive cheating. I accepted 2020. Here's what I would say. President Trump is poised to win. He said last night, when it comes to Israel, I will have their back. I will give them what they need. Bernie Sanders is wrong about the polling here. Most Americans, 80%, side with Israel. The 20%, unfortunately, are in Congress and the State Department that side with Hamas. That's the problem with this war.
All right, Senator
Thank you.
Sanders, we are out of time. Senator Graham, I should say. You just invoked the other senator's name.
We're often confused. We're often confused. Yeah. Thank
Senator
you.
Lindsey Graham, thank you so much.
Happy
We're out of
Mother's Day.
time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your joining us.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
And Al Jazeera spoke to a 13-year-old displaced Palestinian. Her name is Nadine Abdullatif, and she says she's been traumatized by being repeatedly forced to flee the fighting. She spoke to our correspondent Tariq Abu Azoum in Deir al-Bala.
First of all, my name is Nadine. I'm 13 years old, and I'm a refugee from many places, not only from Rafah, from many places, from Gaza to Al-Nusayrat to Al-Rafah. We have been more traumatized from this experience. My experience from Rafah to Al-Deir was absolutely terrifying. First of all, let's not forget the fact that it was expensive to find a car and was hard to find a car, and we couldn't even put all of our stuff. We had to leave stuff in Rafah from that. It was absolutely terrifying. And the fact that we had to go in two groups, two different cars, and two different times. It was absolutely terrifying because we left people behind and we were terrified for them. Where are they going to go? How are they going to get out? Those are questions that came in my head. We were stuffed in that car. And when I tell you stuffs on our laps, people on top of each other. We had at least 10 people in one car with all of our stuff too. It was absolutely terrifying, and
20 kilometers, 12 miles by foot or by car if you're lucky.
Never want to experience that. No child should experience that. No child should see that or even view that. It is absolutely terrifying. These children do not deserve.
By the way, while this is happening in the South, Israel also started dropping pamphlets.
View that. It is absolutely terrifying. These children do not deserve.
By the way, while this is happening in the South, Israel also started dropping pamphlets in the North, telling the people in the North to also evacuate to the South. If you wanted to understand that there is absolutely no other, there's no other option for the Palestinians than to just sit there and fucking die, there is no greater indication of such reality than Palestinians being told to evacuate the fucking North. It's just, they don't give a shit. We've seen this before. It's a death march. It's Armenian genocide. It's Manifest Destiny. It's Trail of Tears. It's unconscionable. Being told to walk 18 to 25 kilometers on 220 calories per day average. Yeah. The Midnight Vigil, I covered the CNN article, my friend. The Today Tayman article.
To live like this.
As a Palestinian girl, how do you see now your future in light of the unrelenting circle of destruction and with the ongoing military?
So the people questioning why she speaks English, Gazans are highly educated per capita. Palestinians in both Gaza and in the West Bank have a higher percentage of BAs, like college education, than Israel. Literally, they're some of the most highly educated people on the planet. Yeah, the literacy rate is incredibly high. Having said that, English speaking is not that high. I think it's like 17% or something that speaks English in Gaza. But yeah,
Offensive on the territory.
If this keeps going on, they're gonna keep killing their future. And you know what their future is? Is our children. It's us. We're the world's future. Every child is the world's future. And you're killing millions and yet thousands of children. You're killing your future. You're destroying your future. You're destroying your life. These children don't deserve this. I do not see a future in Palestine if this keeps going on. And this indeed, and yes, indeed, has to stop. We have asked so many times for a ceasefire.
bro, she's 13, by the way. I just want to point that out. She's 13 years old, bro. Think about what you were doing when you were 13. Isn't this the same girl?
I'm always sick. I don't know.
I don't know. Is it Nadine Abdullatif? Is she the same girl? I don't know.
Yeah, again, the odd one out. The occupation comes out.
Oh my God, this is when she was 10.
Can't do anything. You see all of this. What do you expect me to do? Fix it? I'm only 10. I can't even do anything this more.
There you go. That was, that was 3 years ago. This is her life, bro. That was when she was 10.
I just want to be a doctor or anything to help my people. I can't. I'm just a kid. I don't even know what to do. I get scared, but not really that much. I do anything for my people, but I don't know what to do. I'm just 10.
But I don't get it. This is from, wait, so you're saying it didn't start on October 7th? I don't get it. This is 3 years ago. The math doesn't add up. Does that mean that she's standing in front of rubble 3 years ago? That's really interesting. I thought I was listening to Bernie Sanders earlier, and he said that Hamas started this war on October 7th. But here is footage that I'm sure Bernie was aware of. Just interesting. Everybody keeps telling me that history started on October 7th, you know? And for some reason, here is some footage that is really fucking gruesome.
10. All of this, when I see it, I literally cry every day, saying to myself, why do we deserve this? What did we do to this? My family said they just hate us. They just don't like us because we are Muslims. Why does Muslims act for you like that? You see all of the kids around me? They're just kids. Why wouldn't you just...
Yeah, Chad about to come in and be like, but remember the Mufti, dude? Remember the fucking, the British Grand Mufti, dude? I'm just saying, this kid deserves to fucking be melted. She should count her lucky star she wasn't.
Send a missile to them and kill them. It's not fair. It's not fair.
Back in the Israeli campaign in 2021, Bernie was pretty much saying from the river to the sea, October 7 really broke his brain into the liberal Zionist position. Yes. This in your coverage of 2021 literally opened my closed eyes as a German. The Palestinian side is never shown here. It has never really been covered nor explained. I realized that I knew nothing. Thank you so much for covering the cause. You have no clue how much you do. Well, I try to do my very best. And it is up to you to continue that message to those who will listen around you.
Dan says it is not your right. You should die. You should be killed. It's not fair. It's not fair. Since when was it a law to not like the fact that you're killing children? Since when was that a law? Since when was that existent? Where are the papers that were signed from all of those countries about children's rights, about human rights? Where did those go? Again, I do not see any kind of future here in Gaza if this keeps going on, and I do not see any process nor future around the world. Let me tell you, they're not going to stop in Rafah if they're not stopped. They're going to continue and go around all Gaza once again so many times if they don't stop them.
Baba,
make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.
Yeni pide İstanbul'dan hem de. After this, salata ve pide var orada. Until all the men are dead, is that the plan? It's just until everyone is forcibly purged from the area. So, folks, let's talk about the United Nations cuts estimates of women, children, deaths in Gaza war in half. This, of course, is a very deceptive, dare I say, genocide denying article title by the United States of America today. And of course, you know, it's, I guess, unsurprising if you know a thing or two about the way they operate in American media. As a child actor, brother, how the hell does she know American? Okay, dude, come on. At least put a fucking sarcasm or a hoggers or something next to your obviously sarcastic statements so that people can understand. And when you actually read the article, a very different reality is shown. But of course, that doesn't stop people from pushing, like Joe Scarborough, stop people from pushing this fucking bullshit. UN has estimates from women and children killed in Gaza. Apparently, the Hamas figures repeatedly cited are false. Someone sent that article to me and said, I called your numbers were wrong. I responded, you might want to check your morality when you think that 10,000 civilians is an own or a gotcha. Yeah, exactly. It is ridiculous when people are like, see, it's only 8,000 children that were fucking murdered. You know who does that? Nazis. Imagine if they did that for the Holocaust. No, they literally do that for the Holocaust. Nazis do. It is literally one of the first steps of genocide denial. What you think? Like, what do you think Nazis talk about? Nick Fuentes talking about like 6 million cookies in ovens. It's impossible to bake that many cookies. Like, what do you think he's talking about? It's calling into question the number of Jews killed in the Holocaust. That's what that is, which is also ridiculous for two fronts. One, because it's well documented, but also two, let's say if it was 3 million, would that be appropriate? Like, would that have been, oh, well, I guess it's not as bad now? Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Obviously, that's not the case. Like I said, it is very well documented. But the idea that, like, you could run around and be like, well, only 3 million Jews were killed in the Holocaust, so it's not as bad, is so fucking insane. Anyway, they adjusted to only identified victims, hard to identify detached limbs from limbs scattered for blocks and buried under rubble. Yeah. The UN did not have the estimates of women and children killed. Actually, experts note that the reported figures are a vast undercount, as many are missing under rubble and in mass graves. Also, Joe is citing a propaganda rag that said killed babies were dolls. Yeah, that was really funny when Jerusalem Post did come out with that article. Remember that? I don't want to show you the footage, but Tal Hagen's on it. Update. A similar issue has arisen with an incorrect assessment of the recent Gaza casualty figures as reported by OCHA, OPT, Office, the UN Office of Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs in the Occupied Palestinian Territories. OCHA didn't report a dramatic decrease in the casualty figures of women and children. It just now only reports identified victims. Here is the explanation. Palestinians' reported fatalities include 34,735 numbers, which is 9,500 women. Hold on, I got to zoom in. My eyes are bad. 9,500 women, 14,500 children. Okay. And by the way, I want to note once again that is also an undercount. Very likely an undercount, given the fact that the entire healthcare infrastructure and the reporting facilities for such things is completely destroyed by Israel. It's just, it makes it much harder to report adequately on these figures because Israel deliberately destroyed that shit so that they could call into question the numbers when they want to deploy some kind of fucking disgusting Hasbara. Okay? The cumulative as of 8th of May is 34,844 reported fatalities, which include identified, like directly identified as 24,686 identified as of April 30th, with the numbers of 40% men, 20% women, 8% elderly, and 32% children. Not including more than 10,000 reported missing or under the rubble. So the only thing that they changed in their coverage wasn't that they decreased the death toll. They just haven't been able to identify all of the dead. The keyword difference here is reported versus identified. Reported. The figures of death have been reported to MOH. For a better explanation, review the explanation by the MOH here. Identified. Several parameters need to be met to be considered identified according to the Gazan Ministry of Health. Whether you trust the figures presented by the Gaza Ministry of Health or not, it's important to correctly understand what's being reported. Rogan is a terrorist? Thanks, man. I don't know why you thought that you could come in here and say some fucking unhinged, gross, freakish bullshit. When you say stuff like that, all you do is basically report on yourself that you are a monstrous piece of shit. It's so sad that in 2024 in the United States of America, people just like feel so comfortable being able to say insane shit like this. They've been doing it the past couple of days. Shit's been really gross to see. I know. I hope you get permanently banned from the website, you piece of shit. Update. One of the American doctors trapped in Gaza by Israel's siege is Adam Hamaway, an Army veteran who famously saved the life of Senator Duckworth after her helicopter crash in Iraq. Dr. Hamawi, not Hamaway.
That you've... Hamawi, you know, a similar question to you. You've certainly had the chance to see combat in Iraq and operate in Iraq. It's something that none of us probably have ever experienced. How does what you are seeing now in the conditions that you are operating in compare to other war zones that you've lived through?
You know, I've seen combat and war wounds and have done surgery with humanitarian and disaster relief now for almost 20 years. And this is nothing like this. You know, the injuries, the amount of children that I've seen is just, you know, unprecedented. I take care of more, you know, people under the age of 13 than I've ever taken care of before. I've done more amputations and seen more traumatic amputations of children than I've seen during my entire career in the last 2 weeks. And that's what's really making a difference. You know, in Iraq, there was some civilian casualties. Here, it's like primarily just, you know, children, women, elderly. I mean, today I took care of 4 children, 1 woman, and like 2 people over the age of like 60. And this is not like typical of...
Doctor, I hate to do this to you, but the color of your skin and the way that your face looks is making me question your loyalty to the American military that you were once a part of. It's making me think that you might be Hamas. Dr. Hamawi, more like Doctor of Hamas. I haven't heard you condemn October 7 or Hamas yet. I'm sorry. You're looking real Hamas-like right now.
Of, you know, the wars that I've like experienced in the past. So this is like, you know, really the main, like, you know, this is not like a war. This is just like a complete, utter destruction. There's nothing like left. Like I was able to actually venture out of the hospital and there's like nothing left in the area around us. It's like just flattened, completely flattened.
Doctors of terror. Wait, is Chad implying the title plastic surgeon is intentional by the media? Wait, what? Plastic surgeon? I don't know if you knew that or not, but plastic surgeons, can do like medical intervention that is an absolute necessity. Like, what do you think happens when someone is burned? And secondly, like, there's reconstructive surgery. And last but not least, more importantly, a plastic surgeon is still very much a fucking surgeon. They are probably more, dude, a plastic surgeon right now is probably more of a necessity in the field of combat, in an ethnic cleansing campaign, like the one in Gaza, than like, I don't know, a dermatologist. Okay? Not to say that any kind of medical professional is needed. Of course they are. But like a plastic surgeon engaging in reconstructive surgery, treating burn wounds, amputations and things of that nature is probably going to be even more necessary than other doctors. 10,000 amputations and over 2,000 kids with 3rd-degree burns. You need plastic surgeons more than ENTs in Gaza. Yeah, I do think that a lot of people just think like you know, people in Gaza are not getting BBLs. Okay, they're not. That's not what plastic surgeons are doing. Plastic surgeons are required in level 1 trauma centers, the most severe level of trauma in hospitals. Yeah. Yeah, they're not doing BBL drizzy shit. During COVID, they had proctologists inserting breathing tubes. I don't think they're extremely picky about help either. Yeah. Yeah, in a what's the word? Arbitrage? Is it arbitrage? when there's no, when you have like obviously limited facilities that have hit like, or triage, not arbitrage. Sorry. Oh my God. My brain is so fucking busted. It's not arbitrage. Triage. Triage is a process that you saw during COVID where there's no, the gowanus hair has got me. Yeah. Triage is what you saw in COVID when there's not enough doctors, there's not enough healthcare facilities. Doctors have to make tough choices. Triage is a form of arbitrage, technically, but I mean, the proper word there is an arbitrage. Anyway, Kaneko said UN teams in Gaza have been unable to independently verify the figures because of the prevailing situation on the ground and the sheer number of fatalities. For this reason, all figures used by the UN clearly cite the Ministry of Health in the Gaza as the same source. The UN will verify these figures to the extent possible when conditions permit. The revised estimates were first reported by the Jerusalem Post. After expressing initial skepticism last year about the accuracy of figures provided by Hamas, President Joe Biden in recent months started to cite death figures from the Gaza Ministry of Health, including during his March State of the Union address in Congress. Israeli officials have long disputed the death figures reported by Hamas, including the share of women and children killed during the war, except no, they don't. They use those figures as well. That's fucking bullshit. They dispute it while simultaneously using it. A critical review of the Gaza and MOH casualty numbers? The fuck? Deleted.
Thanks, Farhan. There's some reporting that's come out that says, quote, the UN has halved the number of casualties.
Halved, yes. It's a hard word to say.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, though,
yes,
right?
I do know. Cut in half.
Cut in half, thank you. The casualties from Gaza, is that true?
It's not quite the case, no. What I can tell you is this. The overall number of fatalities that's been tallied by the Ministry of Health in Gaza, which is our counterpart on dealing with the death tolls, that number remains unchanged, and it's at more than 35,000 people since October 7th. What's changed is the Ministry of Health in Gaza has updated the breakdown of fatalities for whom full details have been documented. So what they recently published was that they gave figures for 24,686 out of 34,622 overall fatalities recorded in Gaza. And those 24,686 people are the ones for whom full details have been documented. In other words, people who have been fully identified. Out of that smaller number, that subset of identified bodies, you have 7,797 children, 4,959 women, 1,924 elderly, and 10,006 men.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because the reality is these guys do it all the time. They do the same exact fucking thing. Can you move the taskbar? No, I can't. It's not something that I put up there. It's just from the video. Okay? You have to remember, they literally have not stopped doing this devious shit. Not the UN. I'm saying like media and the way that they will take anything and everything. Like they'll use the extra caution that the United Nations is taking while actively talking about how severe the situation on the ground is, and will turn it around and be like, that's right, they have the numbers actually. Yeah, they only killed 8,000 babies actually, which is awesome. Palestinians are not indigenous to the Levant though. They are Arabs. They come from Arabia. The Arabs colonized Levant, not the Jews. Brother doesn't know that the majority of the Jewish population is Arab Jews, not Palestinian citizens of Israel. I'm talking about the Mizrahi and Sephardic, and some Sephardic Jews are also of Arab descent and of Arab origin. Thanks, man. That's a good take, brother. Thank you so much. No, the majority are not. Yes, the majority of Israeli Jews are literally Mizrahi. Subscribe to the top of the hour. Oh, come on, dude. Oh, that's such a lame ass debate. Whatever. Anyway, Haida 2211. You guys are giving tens the fucking weak ass bait out here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it $1.50. Can you remove the Disco Elysium extension? Yes. I'll do that right now. After I'm done serving you the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour, if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe for $5 or for free. with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster. It was bait. I know Palestinians come from Lebanon. I just wanted to troll. Fuck you, chatter. God damn it.
And the Ministry of Health says that the documentation process of fully identifying details of the casualties is ongoing. Meanwhile, as you can see if you do the math, that there's about another 10,000 plus bodies who still have to be fully identified. And so then the details of those, which of those are children, which of those are women, that will be reestablished once the full identification process is complete. Our teams in Gaza are unable to independently verify these figures, given the situation on the ground and the continuing combat and the sheer number of fatalities. And so we cite the Ministry of Health as the source for our figures.
And do you have any reason to believe that the Ministry of Health numbers are incorrect based on the years that the UN has worked with the Ministry of Health of Gaza?
Unfortunately, we have the sad experience of coordinating with the Ministry of Health on casualty figures every few years for large mass casualty incidents in Gaza, and in coordinating with the Ministry of Health on casualty figures every few years for large mass casualty incidents in Gaza, and in past times, their figures have proven to be generally accurate. Yes, Deshi.
It's actually not even fully correct. Their figures are almost always an undercount. And when he says unfortunately, that's what he means. He's saying, like, unfortunately, we have to, like, he's not saying it's unfortunate that they have to collaborate or coordinate with the Ministry of Health. He's saying unfortunate that, like, those mass casualty incidents have to happen. It's unfortunate the frequency in which they have to do this kind of coordination. Are Palestinian men not human or something? Why do they talk about them like they're all terrorists or something? It's because they have to justify somehow the fucking casualty numbers. And they look bad even when you fucking factor in every single Palestinian man over the age of 18 as an enemy combatant. That's it. Those same estimations would probably put the Israeli October 7 casualty numbers in a very different light too, by the way. If you were to treat, can you imagine if I got on here on October 8 and was talking about how, like, one, Israelis are actually faking, they're doing Israeli wood. They're faking these images of people being killed and whatnot. Or that they literally are all enemy combatants. They're all actually militants. They're all militants. And that the Israeli government is actually hiding inside of the population. The Israeli government is actually hiding themselves as human shields. The Israeli military is hiding as human shields. And the kibbutzim are actually military defense areas that, like, the old grandmas and whatnot are actually in support of the IDF. So therefore they deserve to be fucking slaughtered. That they should have their fucking food withheld. They should not be able to go back to their house. You'd get a kick contract pretty fast. No, I think there's still way more Zionists on kick. To be fair, you did say the IDF is using civilians as a human shield, the whole shopping mall thing. Yeah, I'm saying that is not a permissible argument for the IDF either. That's my point. Like, the IDF as a fucking headquarter, that is literally to address as a counter argument to what Israel says. The point is, when I bring that up, I'm showing how fucking ridiculous it would be. It is ridiculous. Calling a festival a power target and talking about pressure on Israeli Molly enjoyers. Yeah. Holy shit. Even fucking Israeli outlets are writing about this now. Drawing a star on David on the ruins of houses. Yeah. Wait, he forgot to finish the 88. They forgot to finish the 88. I'm sure the 86 is the unit or some shit. I'm making a joke saying, like, you know, they were trying to write the 88 Nazi shit. Honoring fallen Golani troops trace giant star of David into captured terror outposts. Look at the way that fucking Times of Israel is covering this shit. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, this is old. UN says total number of fatalities in Gaza remains unchanged after controversy over revised data. Yeah, even the New York Times, even CNN is like talking about this shit. Also, here's a U.S. Army intel officer resigning over U.S. Gaza war policy and support for Israel. An Army intelligence officer resigned in an act of protest over what he called nearly unqualified U.S. support for Israel, according to a resignation letter posted on LinkedIn. Major Harrison Mann was assigned to the Defense Intelligence Agency, according to his LinkedIn profile, and said in his resignation letter that U.S. policies have enabled and empowered the killing and starvation of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. At some point, whatever the justification, you're either advancing a policy that enables the mass starvation of children or you're not, Mann wrote in his letter. Mann has worked at the Defense Intelligence Agency since August 2021 as a Middle East analyst, according to his LinkedIn profile. He's been in the Army for 13 years, during which he attended Army Special Warfare Center School, as well as Harvard's Kennedy School. Mann said he submitted his resignation on November 1st, which was less than a month after the Hamas terror attack on October 7th, and the beginning of Israel's bombardment of the coastal enclave. CNN has yet not been able to reach Mann, but when the New York Times reached him Monday, Mann confirmed he was the author of the post, but declined to comment further. An official from the Defense Intelligence Agency confirmed Mann's resignation. He's Jewish, by the way. I mean, it's not surprising. An official from the DIA confirmed Mann's resignation and said such resignations are a routine occurrence. We confirmed that Major Mann was previously assigned to the DIA. Employee resignations are a routine occurrence at the DIA, as they are at other employers, and employees resign their positions for any number of reasons and motivations. Military dudes have a LinkedIn? What the fuck do they say? I got a master on killing brown people? Yes. According to the Army, Mann had deployed to Tunisia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and South Korea during his 13-year military service. Mann requested an unqualified resignation on November 29, 2023, the Army said in a statement, in which an officer voluntarily requested to be discharged after completing his or her service obligations. Mann's request was approved on January 8, 2024. It will become effective June 3, 2024. More than 1,000 Hamas members are under treatment in Turkey, the president says. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, said Monday that he does not see Hamas as a terrorist organization, but as a resistance organization, and more than 1,000 Hamas members are currently under treatment in Turkish hospitals. Dude, it's so funny seeing his attitude change so dramatically. Holy fuck, dude. In like the next 6 months, he's going to be like, we're invading Israel. If this shit keeps up, he's going to be like, 1 minute, we are invading Israel. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's going to call NATO Article 5 on Israel. I do not see Hamas as a terrorist organization. On the contrary, Hamas is a resistance organization whose lands have been occupied since 1947 and the occupation. They have protected their lands. They are a resistance organization struggling to protect those places, Erdogan added, according to the Turkish state news agency Anadolu. Yeah, bro, this guy is giving a better response to election outcomes than Joe Biden right now. Like, in his like 30-year reign, he saw one fucking election go in a way where it was like genuinely damaging, and he's like, yo, fuck this Israel shit, dog. What was I thinking? Amerika'dan para gelir diye beklerken yaptığı açıklamaya bak. Yaprağı yedik. Aynen. He still does trade? No. By way of Azerbaijan, I suspect he is continuing the trade with Israel, of course. It is also interesting because Turkey's in dire circumstances with its economy. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with like Western support. Germany, oh, dude, it's Jover. Remember what I said a couple of weeks ago? I was like, bro, if Germany starts saying Israel needs to cut it out, that's how you know shit has really hit the fan. Oh my Lord, bro. Germany has been too busy arresting German Jews every fucking day since October 7 in an effort to combat anti-Semitism. Okay? That Germany? Yeah, the one holdout will be Czechia. If they lose them, it's Jover, okay? Ultra rare German little W? No, I don't believe this at all. Maybe all the Mein Kampf shit that like the President Herzog was showing finally got to the Germans and they were like, actually, maybe these guys also hate Jews. Germany was like, wait a minute, they're reading our books over there. They were like, hold on, we have a patent on this kind of thing. Okay, what is this? Encroaching on our territory? Damn, bro, they're reading German literature out there. Ooh, Mein Kampf? That is deutsche Literaturen. Ja, sehr gut, ja. You wish the moving the goalpost is a couple of weeks? What? I mean, yeah, I still don't trust that statement. I don't trust the German government at all. Okay. Ooh. Here for all the German slander. Trying to get some Helga pussy. Okay, we're going to do the Bill Burr clip. All right. Not looking too good. Trump leads in 5 key states as young and non-white voters express discontent with Biden. Will that change his attitude at all? Fuck no. Oh, also, this is the last piece of Israel news I'm going to be covering because this is, oh my God. Guys, a lot of you think that the real victims of Israel's genocidal actions are like the Palestinian children, women, men, right? Like Palestinian hospitals. Except the real victim is Jerry Seinfeld. What's the deal with airplane food? That Jerry Seinfeld, who is one of the co-writers and co-creators of the Seinfeld hit TV show, was speaking at the Duke commencement. And honestly, these fucking Hamas terrorist children were very upset about his commencement speech. So they walked away. And let me tell you, some things are truly unacceptable. Israel kills 34,000 Palestinians. I sleep. Actually, I don't sleep. I'm wide awake. I'm saying that's great. Please kill more. Nuke Gaza. Okay? The worst American comedian with like an undeserved platform who rode the coattails of much funnier comedy writers like Laryl David come out at the Duke commencement, and the students understandably get peeved by that thing because, you know, he is a unconditional dick rider of Israel, and also his wife, not 1738 Seinfeld, his current wife, gave $5,000 so that they could build a fucking podium next to the UCLA encampment. That Seinfeld was speaking at the Duke commencement and students walked away. Oh, I'm sure he is going to ride this so much.
Tensions reaching a breaking point at college campuses nationwide, with graduation ceremonies becoming the latest flashpoint for ongoing anti-war protests. Over the
Why
weekend,
does 1738 sound like a dog whistle? 1738. I'm like, hey, what's up? Hello. Jerry Seinfeld dated a 17-year-old when he was 38. He was on the cover of magazines. Their weird relationship.
and dozens of Duke University students staging a walkout as comedian Jerry Seinfeld began his commencement speech.
I grew up a Jewish boy from New York. That is a privilege if you want to be a comedian.
After Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th, Seinfeld posted on Instagram, "I will always stand with Israel and the Jewish people," and visited the country back in December to show his support. Duke University.
Bro, really? I mean, he's wearing a fucking IDF dog tag, brother. Come on now. I want people to understand something, okay? It doesn't matter what part of the conflict you stand on. That is no different, if not worse, than wearing a fucking Al-Qassam Brigade headband. To me, where I'm standing, wearing an IDF dog tag is literally worse than wearing an Al-Qassam Brigade headband, okay? Obviously, one is completely inappropriate. People will literally, you'll go to jail. You'll go to jail if you have any Arabic lettering on a fucking headband. People have in the UK. There was a dude who wrote, like, "I like chocolate milk" in Arabic lettering on a fucking green headband and then was subsequently arrested. Meanwhile, what if you are serving while wearing them? Bro, there is no way. Yo, she is my fave, dude. Okay, listen. We'll get back to that, okay? I can't deal with that right now. I'm sorry. Let's get back to Jerry Seinfeld. Because, like, I have been a Seinfeld hater for a while. I did not even know that he was, like, this much of a dick rider for Israel. I didn't need to know to hate on Jerry Seinfeld. I like the show Seinfeld. I watched that shit, okay? I thought it was a great show. Problem is, it was carried by Larry David, who wrote the character for George Costanza after himself. Curb Your Enthusiasm speaks for his writing ability. Jerry Seinfeld's entire body of work post-Seinfeld speaks for his. Now, that was a major reason why I was never like a big Seinfeld fan. I've just been a Larry David dick rider. I'm glad that he hasn't been like outspoken since October 7. It would actually hurt my soul almost as hard as fucking Bernie Sanders if I saw him say some shit, not to say that like he's a fucking rugged anti-Zionist or whatever. I don't think he is, but at least he's like chill. Now, Cheryl Hines married the guy with the brainworms. I know. Julia Louis-Dreyfus as well. The GOAT. Love her. She's incredible. She also carried Seinfeld. You're absolutely correct. Anybody says they love Jerry doesn't know they just love Larry. Yeah. So doesn't get involved in brain rot. Okay. I don't want to fucking leak secrets here, but I know for a fact that he was like a Kirsten Gillibrand donor. You know what I mean? Or was it Kirsten Gillibrand? Or yeah, it was Kirsten Gillibrand. Like Larry is also a little bit of a weird liberal. Okay. But it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. He's anyway. Did you watch Veep? Yes. I think, well, I love Armando Iannucci. So Veep is phenomenal. Armando Iannucci, with the exception of like his non-political work, his political comedy is incredible. Death of Stalin is great. Everything that he does that is not like inherently political or historical is kind of ass. Veep is great. Veep might be the best American political comedy. Anyway, that is all to say, there's nothing wrong with a 38-year-old dating a 17-year-old. It is legal. No, it's not. Pretty sure. Wait. No, it's not. Romeo and Juliet laws don't apply to a 38-year-old, dog. What the fuck are you talking about? Depending on the state, I guess. But even then, not usually. Drake riders in the chat. Anyway, where was I? Like I said, I got all the smoke for Jerry Seinfeld. Age of consent is 16, isn't it? No, bro. What the fuck? Ew, gross. Take a day off.
Duke University releasing a statement writing in part, "We respect the right of everyone at Duke to express their views peacefully without preventing graduates and their families from celebrating their achievement."
In most places, the age of consent laws are basically utilized in very specific cases, okay? It's not to give like broad coverage. It's not to give like broad fucking cover to anyone that wants to fuck like a 16-year-old or whatever. It's usually to make sure that you don't go to fucking jail if you're like a 17-year-old or an 18-year-old in a relationship with like a 16-year-old or some shit. The worst part about dating a 17-year-old is having to help her with her homework. Man, why do you have libertarians in your chat? I think it's not libertarians. I think it's European Union Andes in the chat. It's also funny because like EU Andes will literally be like, Muslims aren't pedophiles. They're doing grooming gangs. They're doing grooming gangs to do pedophilia. It's like, bro, it's literally legal in your country. This doesn't make it okay. But like, what the fuck are you doing? EU motherfuckers be like, only we get to do la pedophilia. No Muslim, no Islamic pedophilia. Please. What the fuck are you saying? Of course we will fuck le 16-year-old. Of course we will find le Lolita sexy. Omelette du fromage. Not le Muslims though. Anyway, where were we? EU Andy here. It's weird here too. Legal age for 16-year-olds usually only applies if both parties are young. Yeah, I don't. Lolita was first published in France. Lol. I know. I don't know why you're saying EU equals French ? Like, do you really want me to pull up the fucking list of EU countries? Like, I think Spain is even worse. Like, there's a lot of places where it's just like 16 is the straightforward age of consent. In many places, it's like it goes all the way down to 14. But as long as like the upward limitation is like an 18-year-old, you know what I mean? And people use that to them, to their argument. Vatican City is the worst. Yeah, they have no minimum wage, no minimum age, baby. Vatican's like, fuck it, we ball. Fuck. Yeah, legally you can have sex at 12 in Canada as long as it was with a 12 or 13-year-old. Okay, what is happening right now? I don't need to know this information. And it's like one of those pieces of information that like you shouldn't know either, honestly. That's a very weird thing to say. Hey guys, let's not do the thing where we're all flexing our knowledge of age of consent laws, please. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're going to put an end to this conversation. Okay, we should definitely stop talking about this conversation, except for one reason and one reason only. And that is, I saw, what was that big fat guy who was like talking about, like, we are not going to abolish child marriage. Why the fuck would we? Or some shit. What was that? That was like popping on Twitter the other day. I remember seeing it. Republicans once again, baby, doing the dang thing. Why do you have a chat of French philosophers? Yeah. They're ripe and fertile. Yeah, that's right. Children are ripest and most fertile at the age of 14. Someone has to have the article. Oh, is this the one? No, this isn't the one. This isn't the one. This is yet another one, but it's not the one that I'm thinking of. Oklahoma House rejects bill to restrict marriage involving minors. New Hampshire poll who called teens ripe won't apologize to his haters. New Hampshire Rep. Jess Edwards. Okay, remember, New Hampshire, most libertarian goddamn state in America. It is also known as the Arizona of the North. Okay, is for good goddamn reason. This is from a couple days ago. Okay, May 8th, New Hampshire Representative Jess Edwards stirred outrage with his explanation for why he opposes raising the marriage age to 18. There was another one. Last ditch push to ban child marriage in Missouri must overcome resistance in the House. Here. Regarding child marriage, Representative Dean Van Schielak of Missouri adds, why is the government getting involved in people's lives like this? He wasn't talking about, trust me, this man right here, this big old boy. God damn, that's the strongest goddamn belt you've ever done seen, okay? That shit's holding on for dear life. Whoo, that's a big boy. Holy moly. You think he was talking about abortion? Fuck no. Built like a goddamn red heifer over here, okay? Yee. It's on the going 16 to 18, Murphy, who supports the bill, said of the opposition. There's just not enough members in that committee that don't think that's a good idea. One of those lawmakers is Representative Dean Van Schrack, a Savannah Republican and vice chair of the committee. Van Schrack said in an interview that he knows people who got married as minors, including a woman at roughly age 17. You know that woman was actually 14 and not a woman at all, but a little girl. Roughly doing the fucking workload of 1,000 over here in this sentence. Roughly. The couple, he said, is still madly in love with each other. Why is the government getting involved in people's lives like this? Van Schwack said. What purpose do we have in deciding that a couple who are 16 or 17 years old, their parents say, you guys love each other. Go ahead and get married. You have my permission. Why would we stop that? Went looking for a pic of this guy and wasn't disappointed. Oh my God. Went looking for a pic of this guy and wasn't disappointed. Oh my God. Oh my stars and garters. That is a big boy. I love him. I love his body. I love him. His body is tea, dude. He's so sick. There's still no minimum age for child marriage in California. Hell yeah, brother. That's what I'm talking about. Greatest state in the fucking nation, California, baby. And we should keep it that way. If you were to look at like child marriages in California in comparison to any red state, I'm sure that like red state's fucking clear by a wide margin, but I doubt that the California state would launch a strong opposition against raising the age of child marriages. Anyway, that man is not pro-life because he believes in the sanctity of life, but because his heart believes he knows a pregnant woman's plight. Oh, God. Okay, let's get back to fucking you right now. Oh, it's true, dude. It's true. That is how I feel about him. He's so beautiful. I am in awe of the way he looks. Like, I'm not fat shaming him. Don't get mad at me. Unchained at last found that the 10 states with the highest rate of child marriage per capita between 2000 and 2018 were number 1, Nevada, number 2, Idaho, number 3, Arkansas, number 4, Kentucky, number 5, Oklahoma, number 6, Wyoming, number 7, Utah, number 8, Alabama, number 9, West Virginia, and number 10, Mississippi. This is one of the only goddamn places where, thank God for Mississippi, don't exist. Yeah, I'm not fat shaming him. I'm actually fat praising him. Thank you. In Texas from 2000 to 2014, almost 40,000 children were married. In Florida, 16,400 children, some as young as 13, were married from 2000 to 2017, which is the second highest incident of child marriage after Texas. In Virginia, between 2004 and 2013, nearly 4,500 children were married, according to the Tahiri Justice Center. And God damn it, if I'm not going to fucking keep advocating for the American right for a child to marry a goddamn adult, okay? You understand me? If a child, of course, seeks out an abortion, that child should be murdered on the spot. I am pro-life after all. God, that is like unironically the argument. That is the argument. That is actually the argument that these fucking freaks make. You can consent to having sexual relations with me, a 45-year-old adult, as a teenager, but God forbid you consent to a medical intervention in that process. How else am I going to have more new wives? If you go out there, victim of teenage pregnancy, to give birth to another child, who else am I going to marry? You understand me? This is why we must make sure that nobody gets to have an abortion. That way I get to marry more little girls. New Hampshire poll, who called teens right, won't apologize to his haters. This is what I mean when I say, like, Republicans literally are just going above and beyond with like being evil. Like, they are evil maxing. They're pedo maxing. They're evil maxing. I don't know how else to report on this issue. Like, who the fuck is like, that's right, as a New Hampshire lawmaker, I will not apologize to my haters because they keep hating on the fact that I keep saying teenagers are ripe and fertile. Like, bro, it's good that they hate you for that, actually. Representative Jess Edwards sparked national outcry when he opposed a bill that would raise the age of marriage from 16 to 18, saying on the House floor that outlawing marriage for people of a ripe, fertile age would result in more abortions. In an interview with the Daily Beast on Tuesday night, Edwards said using the word ripe was a mistake, but that he did not deserve the hundreds of emails he received calling him a pedophile and worse. I'm the real victim here, folks. Also, wait, so this implies that the usage of the term fertile was valid. Like, he's not even mentioning that. He's saying ripe was the mistake. Fertile, on the other hand, is correct. I misspoke. It was an inappropriate word, he said. But because I have this avalanche of hate, I really don't want to apologize in the face of that. Because I don't want to encourage this behavior for the next guy who says the wrong word. By giving in to all of the mob, I don't want to feed the beast. I don't care to apologize to the haters. Also, what's worse than being called a pedophile? He's like, they called me way more mean words than a pedophile. A Democrat. Okay. They called me woke. I don't stand for that kind of nonsense. Oh, yeah. By giving in to all the mob, I don't want to feed the beast. Edwards, a Republican. Oh, no, they called him the C word? Now, that's fucked up. Let me tell you, that is fucked up. They called him the C word. They called him a cracker. Some things you can't fucking come back from. Some things you can't fucking come back from, folks. As you guys know, listen. They better not have said such horrifying slurs. As you guys know, I don't stand for anti-white slurs. All the other slurs are fine, just not the anti-white ones, which are worse than the N-word, which is something I like to say all the goddamn time. Why can't I say it? Black people say it all the time. You know what black people shouldn't be able to say, though? Cracker. No one talks about the 850,000 Jews that got expelled from their homes in countries on the opposite side of the 1948 war. It's the same as the Nakba Lamau. Peace out. Yeah, dude. Attributing the crimes of all of the individual pan-Arabic nationalist countries in their own very different circumstances as far as like its mistreatment of Jews and attributing all of those crimes to the Palestinian population is pretty wild. Pretty fucking wild and very stupid. Love that he said peace out, though. All right. Edwards, a Republican who's in the midst of his fourth term, added that he apologized for those present at a town GOP meeting Tuesday for creating such a stir. They all just basically vocally thanked me for 8 years of service and my leadership in the state and the things I've accomplished. Child marriage bill passed the House last week despite Edwards' protestations. And now goes to Governor Chris Sununu for his signature. Chris Sununu, you are the last bastion here, sir. You better veto this bill. Anyway, more pedocon theory. Very cool stuff. Now let's get back to, we sidestepped into the pedocon theory, but there's a pedo-lib in our midst. That's right. Back to Jerry Jebediah Seinfeld. Okay. Unrelated, but according to Con 11, Israeli officials are convinced the ICJ will issue orders to stop the fighting in Rafah. We praying they right? I hope so. We're going to do the Bill Burr clip after this.
This walkout just one of many nationwide impacting end-of-year campus events. Pro-Palestinian demonstrators blocked entryways ahead of a commencement ceremony for Pomona College. The school had moved the event after protesters set up an encampment on the stage. At UC Berkeley, home of the free speech movement, dozens of students interrupted graduation waving pro-Palestinian flags and banners.
This wouldn't be Berkeley without a protest, so I get it.
The demonstration later moving behind the main stage where hundreds of others joined in. Dozens of VCU graduates silently walked out during Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin's speech.
1, 2, 3, 4. Youngkin, no more.
This comes after police in riot gear arrested 25 protesters at the University of Virginia last week. According to an NBC News tally, nearly 3,000 arrests have been made on campuses nationwide in weeks.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How many arrests were done on January 7th? You have to go to this? What is this? Here at the Zionist Organization of American Support for Israel rally concert, feat special guests Alan Dershowitz and Rabbi Shmuley, middle of Times Square, and 0 attendees so far. What? Oh my God, that's from a couple hours ago. An attendee just showed up with the Israel-American flag combo, bringing the total number of people to 1. Bro, Israel is not doing all right. Okay? Like, yes, sure, they deserve this fate. Yes, sure, the Israeli government's actions are horrifying. But, like, I can't help but, like, kind of feel a little bad in a very funny way that the only guys that they're able to put together is basically two perverts in their own right, okay, in very different directions. Bro, these are your fucking homies. These are the people you could put together, dude. God damn. There is perhaps no better representation that so much of the Zionism comes from like Islamophobic resentment and animosity, because there's literally more Zionists at any given fucking pro-Palestinian encampment trying to get in there. If the Israeli organizers actually wanted Zionists to attend this, they should have put like a woman in a hijab there. You know what I mean? So that they could go and spit on her. That would be widely attended. You know what I mean? Every fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry in New York would be there to like fucking yell at her and spit on her and stuff. Zionists only care when like there's a gaggle of Muslims and sympathizers of people who are of Islamic origin. They only want to occupy those spaces, okay? They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck when it's their own people talking. They're like, yeah, I don't fucking care about. I don't care about Rabbi Shmuley. Get the fuck out of here. Are there children present? Are they protesting Israel? Because I'm there no matter what. Okay? Their position has power in the U.S., so there's no need to protest for stuff. Only counter protest. Yeah. 36 months after arrests made, more than 1,265 defendants have been charged in nearly all 50 states and District Columbia. Oh, this is the January 6th attack. No, that's charged. How many arrests were made? I want to know how many arrests were made. That's only the fucking charges. I want to know how many arrests were made after January 6th, not like those who were charged, unless they charged every single person with arrest, because they didn't really charge. Technically, they did. I don't think any arrests were made on January 6th. I think there were like, how many? Like a handful. There were a handful of arrests made on January 6th, which is already laughable to begin with. So I guess like the arrest to charge number is like identical in this situation, possibly because these are all arrests that came after investigations were conducted. So that's why the arrest / being charged number is identical. Approximately 11 individuals have been arrested on a series of charges that relate to assaulting a member of the media or destroying equipment on January 6th. No, I want to know how many people were directly arrested on January 6th. I'm just saying, January 6th happens, like a handful of people get arrested, okay? Maybe 2 hands full. 1,300 people are arrested. 1,200 are charged since, like, months after January 6th, by the way. Meanwhile, 3,000 arrests have happened in the last couple of months immediately at student protests, like directly at student protests. Just something to consider. As of this AP article, June 4th, 2020, 10,000 Black Lives Matter protests were arrested. So 3,000 in a few weeks is crazy. It's not crazy because obviously the very same reason as to why all of those fucking HVAC business owners thought that they could get away with like filming themselves breaking into the Capitol is the exact same reason, is because they see this. They recognize this. You protest against the police, you protest against the government, you protest against capitalism, you are going to get violently arrested and apprehended. You actually, if you're right wing and you do that, on the other hand, if you're right wing and you go to the government and you're like, why don't you do more right wing shit, no matter how silly, how laughable, or how violent you are not going to get arrested until the government does make a big stink about it. But think about that. 10,000 arrests during the Black Lives Matter protests. 3,000 so far in 3 weeks. 3,000 arrests at student protests in 3 weeks. 1,300 arrests in the subsequent years after January 6th. Tell me what is more violent. Tell me which cause was just. Anyway, just some stuff to consider in this fucking bullshit-ass country. As we go back to Jerry Seinfeld, a story so fucking stupid that I've spent the last hour literally covering anything else instead of this fucking story. I can't even get myself to literally talk about students leaving Jerry Seinfeld's commencement speech because it's just so stupid. Nobody should be listening to Jerry Seinfeld, okay? His 17-year-old girlfriend should not have been listening to Jerry Seinfeld when he was like, here, I'll help you with your math homework. No one. Holy moly.
U.S. News & World Report is out with a new survey today that says that 67% of students at top schools say anti-Semitism is a problem on campus. 38% say they feel unsafe. As for Duke, Jerry Seinfeld, his daughter graduated from the school. His son goes.
Who is doing these polls, bro? Also, anti-Semitism is a big problem in campuses. It's true. That's a real issue. Except the idea that, like, that's married to the fucking pro-Palestinian protest is insane, okay?
To the school. We reached out for his team for comment. They have not returned our request for comment. Guys, back to you. All right.
Stephanie. Like, if you go to a pro-Palestinian rally and you poll the students without, like, tying it back to Palestine, if you literally were to poll them and ask them, do you think anti-Semitism is a big issue on campuses? They would say yes. The pro-Palestinian encampment would say yes. These students are obviously very, very fucking considerate overall. So that number doesn't mean anything, but ultimately they're using this, or rather, it's not that number doesn't mean anything, it's that they're using that number in a very gross way here. In a story specifically about college campuses protesting against like pro-Israeli speakers and whatnot. How was anti-Semitism a problem before October 7? What do you mean? They literally had like Nazis attend college campuses regularly. What are you talking about? Anti-Semitism absolutely was a problem before October 7. Hello, Charlottesville. I don't know if you remember that. Proud Boys, Patriot Prayer type shit everywhere. People like Gavin McGinnis going to fucking college campuses and speaking at college campuses. Milo Yiannopoulos. Marjorie Taylor Greene said Jewish space lasers did the California wildfires. Problem is, like, there's real anti-Semitism, and then there is the only thing that the fucking media, dude, that Chapo interviewer said it was nowhere to be found. Yeah, no, he was talking about like the anti-Semitic incidents post October 7 that he was looking at, that he was conducting. and he was not able to find what the anti-Semitic incidents were, because the anti-Semitic incidents that they have factored in as anti-Semitic incidents were mentions of Palestine. Not just like in a lecture hall, mentioning Palestine was considered anti-Semitic by that university's own standards. The issue is, a lot of these universities, if you listen to that interview, a lot of these universities don't actually fucking have like a defined anti-Semitism, which is why he was also saying it's a good thing that his university was actually trying to define what anti-Semitism is, so you can actually adequately present it. Like, this is an anti-Semitic incident. This is clearly defined within the boundaries of the university as like what anti-Semitism is. The problem is when there is no definition for anti-Semitism, people literally fucking turn around and not even just say free Palestine is anti-Semitic. Mentions of Palestine is considered anti-Semitic. What anti-Semitic incidents have happened on college campuses doesn't exist. You are fucking insane if you think that anti-Semitic incidents don't happen on college campuses. Of course they happen. What you are actually trying to do in this circumstance is probably run a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour early on, okay? Early on. 55. That's not the worst time to do a bait. And that is the reason why. Yeah, see? There you go. I was right. The anti-Semitic incident is the top of the hour ad break. Yes, you are right. If you are a Jewish chatter who does not have $5 or a free subscription in the form of a Twitch Prime, yes, you are about to get hit with an anti-Semitic attack in the form of a 3-minute ad break. Okay, you don't have to ban him. Here, just give him like an hour off or something. That's right. At the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. I gave him a minute and you gave him an hour. Okay, he deserved an hour off. Here's a 3-minute ad break now. But yeah, that guy was saying that specifically because he wanted to bait me at the top of the hour. But yes, of course, anti-Semitic incidents occur on college campuses. After all, there are young Republicans on college campuses. Where else would we get such wonderful speakers like Milo, the Nazis are quite all right, Yiannopoulos, for example, to come and attend your campus and talk at your campus? You know.
Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday.
Anyway.
The pro-Palestinian protests that engulfed college campuses have now found a new stage, the graduation stage. At Duke University Sunday, about 30 students walked out of the commencement ceremony as comedian Jerry Seinfeld was being introduced. Seinfeld has supported Israel throughout the war against Hamas in Gaza, and here is some of what he then said in his address.
I totally admire the ambitions of your generation to create a more just and inclusive society. I think it is also wonderful that you care so much about not hurting other people's feelings. In the 1,000,001 ways, we all do that every second of every day. It's lovely to want to fix those things.
That is far from the only protest to hit college commencement ceremonies over the weekend. CNN's Nick Valencia joins us now. What all happened, Nick?
Yeah, hey, Kate, good morning. Commencement season is upon us, and these pro-Palestinian demonstrators are choosing to voice their opposition to the war in Gaza in a variety of ways, some continuing to call for a ceasefire. And over the weekend, we saw that at commencement ceremonies across the country, really. Some chanted, others held signs, some draped themselves in Palestinian flags, calling for their schools to divest from Israel. But for the most part, these ceremonies went on without a hitch. In Southern California, though, there was a brief interruption. According to the New York Times, at least one person was arrested over a skirmish outside of Pomona College's graduation. They had to move their graduation 30 miles away from their campus. And at Duke University, we saw what happened there in the intro. Comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who's been a very vocal supporter of Israel since the Hamas terrorist attack on October 7th, he was protested by a few dozen pro-Palestinian demonstrators who chose to walk out and have their own commencement ceremony. Across the country in California, at UC Berkeley, the dean of students had to take the microphone. There was a pause in ceremony there. And listen to what the dean of students...
Did you see someone committed suicide during that OSU Bitcoin speech? Wait, what? I didn't even get to cover the OSU Bitcoin speech, which was really funny, but now it's fucking sad. I did not know that happened. The OSU president was like, they fell. Oh, they didn't commit suicide. They just fell. Oh God, that's so sad. It's being investigated as a suicide. A family member. It's being investigated as a suicide. A family member, the graduate participating in Sunday's ceremony. It was a suicide. It was while the graduates were walking onto the stadium. Dude, that's so fucking sad. Efendim, kaç yaş çıkıyoruz? Okay, şimdi birazdan çıkıyor muyuz? Okay. Well, okay, I'm not going to cover this any further. Okay. That's really sad, man. That's fucked up. Okay, I'm done with this fucking Jerry Seinfeld bullshit. All right, let's talk about Bill Maher. I kind of want to save it for tomorrow almost because there's like really juicy bits in there apparently. Maybe give it a whole watch over the entire thing. Bro, nod or smoke time. It's fine if they showed destroyed Gaza City block while mentioning the Hamas attack on October 7th. Okay, they were doing propaganda. You are so hyper fixated on this, okay? Bill Burr, my goat, went on Bill Maher, not my goat, smug, annoying asshole Bill Maher's show. Nah, you got 2 hours until gaming time? No, I don't. I'm going to go to dinner with my family. This is what he had to say.
That's where Harvard is. For a guy like you,
I know that.
That's got to be the Taj Mahal. I love that
I
bugs
hate
you.
Harvard. Are you kidding? Have you heard what's going on college campuses these days?
I don't watch the news.
You don't realize that college campuses erupted with the kids demonstrating for Hamas? They are in with the terrorists.
They were for the Palestinians.
Well, it's sort of the same cause. Why, are you?
Okay, sometimes not saying anything is so much better. Dude, that's such a good response. Oh, just fucking using the dead space to his advantage. Oh my God, what a fucking... You guys know I am the biggest dick rider of Bill Burr. You guys know this. I am going to dick ride him into... I'm going to be blowing bubbles on it for this, okay? Trigger warning. You are going to see some gay sex happening right now. Oh my God, I'm gonna lick his bald fucking dome, okay? God damn. Nothing more devastating you can do on a fucking comedy podcast as a comedian than hit him with fucking dead air, okay? Straight up, just fucking dead air. It is infinitely better than giving him a reaction because he's trying to draw a reaction out of him, and he just said nothing.
With the terrorists?
They were for the Palestinians.
Well, it's sort of the same cause. Why, are you?
I'm on the side of the kids.
Yeah, that's easy to say. You know, no one wants to see kids dead.
Yeah. That's so easy to say. It's so easy to say, even though I attributed being on the side of the student protesters to being pro-Hamas. That's so sick.
Dead. This is a war.
That was very brave of you to say that.
This is a war.
Yo, God, I love him, dude. Yeah, that's very brave of you to say.
Wants to see kids dead. This is a war.
That was very brave of you to say that.
This is a war. No, I'm the one who's actually brave on this.
Pat yourself on the back.
It's easy to.
God damn, dude. God, I fucking love him so much. He's so good.
Say I'm for the kids. Who's not for the kids?
Well,
it comes down to real hard-nosed decisions. Like a country.
Stop talking like you're a general.
A country got attacked. Israel got attacked.
I'm not saying that they didn't have a right to go back. I'm just sitting there going like, how do I look at what...
We're the only country in the world that they get attacked, and then as soon as they counterattack, it's like, well, we got to stop this shit now. Don't attack them. There's a very simple solution to all this problem in the Middle East. Stop attacking Israel.
Hey, you
Stop
just solved
attacking
it.
Israel.
You just solved it.
I actually
did.
did.
There you go. That's fantastic.
It's great because, like, you can tell he's not, like, super well equipped to have this conversation. But even he's like, come on, Bill. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking asshole. All right? All right, Bill? All right? Old Billy bitch tits? All right? You fucking asshole.
Anyway,
all right,
we don't need to get onto that.
Let's go to Russia and the Ukraine. How do you solve that one, Bill? Let me hear your hard-nosed decision about that. Well, let me ask you a question. How is war still legal? With all the shit that's been canceled.
Legal.
Why is that still fucking legal?
Would you like a real answer to that? Because for something to be illegal, you have to have the capacity to enforce it. And you can't enforce against war, or else you have to go to war with the country that's going to war. And we don't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine.
I want to be as, like, cool and nonchalant when addressing, like, arrogant fucking assholes like Bill Maher. Because, like, he is so, like, when I hear him, I want to hurt him. Like, I want to hurt his feelings. I want to disrespect him. I want him to feel like the pain that he is justifying. You know what I mean? I can't be like as cool and as effortless in the way that Bill Burr is always able to carry himself in, where he's just so quick. He's very quick-witted, which I love, but he also is just like, yeah, why are you talking like a general? You know what I mean? Like, he's not even addressing, he's just addressing directly the aesthetics of his argument, okay? And he's doing a phenomenal job of dismantling, Bill Maher on the virtues that Bill Maher cares about the most, right? Okay, I know I said I was going to blow bubbles on it, but like I'm looking at this as like propaganda, okay? You're not understanding. Yes, I'm blowing bubbles on it, but then I'm also giving you good reason as to why I'm blowing bubbles on it, because I'm also carefully like extracting more out of this conversation, this 2-minute conversation, than you otherwise would. Like, there's one way to look at this and just like laugh at it, and then there's another way to look at it and like carefully analyze the way that he is deflecting arguments, even when he doesn't have all of the information, okay? And he's also like, he's neutralizing grenades that are being thrown at him, right? He's over here like saying, oh, dude, you know, oh, these kids are pro-Hamas. They want Jewish rape to happen, or whatever the fuck he's saying. And he doesn't address any of the points at all. He's just like, all right, asshole, fucking calm down. I'm with the kids, okay? You're elegantly galloping on it. Is this how we sound when we talk about Hasan and other chats? I hope so.
Go to war with the country that's going to war. And we don't want to go to war with Russia over Ukraine. What would be the sense of making it illegal? Oh, that's really going to stop Putin. No. To stop people from going to war, you have to also put boots.
Can't sit down and talk it out. Why can't Putin do a podcast with the head guy? Like, you just solved the Middle East on a podcast. Why can't they solve what they're doing on a podcast?
This is why this is not your thing.
Make some hard-nosed decisions. It's not your thing. It's what you.
It is my thing.
It isn't your thing.
Okay, I want to see more of this now. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously fucking with him when he's like, yeah, why doesn't Putin do a podcast? That's a joke, Bill. He's making fun of you, dumbass. He's making fun of you. You don't even fucking understand. And you're such a smug piece of shit that you went, this is why this is my thing and not your thing. Idiot. God, he's so fucking stupid. Anyway, let's look at this.
Survive 2 weeks without sex. You wouldn't survive. Yes, I could. When was the last time you went 2 weeks without sex?
I can't recall.
You don't know. I can't wait to get you all alone, all alone. Once I'm in there, ain't no letting go, letting go. Boss me.
This clip had more at the end. Okay, let's watch that one.
You don't realize that
Acid Communist, one of the best Twitter HasanAbi heads out there.
College campuses erupted.
Let me hear your hard-nosed decision.
Putin, no.
At least on a podcast. Why can't they solve what they're doing on a podcast?
This is why this is not your thing.
Make some hard-nosed decisions. It's not your thing. It's what you.
It is my
thing.
It
isn't your
thing.
thing.
Is not
it
your
isn't.
thing.
You're like that guy that has a fantasy football team and thinks he's a fucking GM.
No. No.
That's exactly what it is. Like, why am I fucking listening to you like you've done something? What have you done in Washington? Nothing.
My fucking goat, dude. See, sometimes, okay, I need to explain something to you. Sometimes the reason why I take certain positions without directly addressing the root cause is for this exact same reason. Like, whenever people used to come up and talk about like women's sports, okay, in high school, I was like, why do you care? Do you care? Do you actually care about this? Have you ever watched women's sports in high school? Have you ever watched girls play basketball or some shit? No, you haven't. Shut the fuck up. The reason why I would do that, and a lot of people would get mad at me, including that famous, except for Drake. Drake definitely does care about girl sports. If you guys recall the famous clip of me fucking yelling at Catboy, one of the elderly, at this point, like elder trans members in this community. The reason why that video, that clip of me yelling at him exists out there is because we had this altercation. Catboy Collector was like, here are the real reasons why, like, here's what you should be using as your argument. And he's like, he literally like does this for research too. So that was the other reason why he was extra upset, right? Because he was like, these are the old, not that old, it's not what the fuck. No, but like an elderly HasanAbi head, considering like how many months he's been in the community, right? The reason why Catboy yelled at me was specifically because of that, because of the Christian Walker conversation, where like I did a pretty good job of fucking dealing with his talking points, and yet like all the debate perverts turned around and were like, oh my God, you got owned. And then everybody was like, Vosh specifically had said that alongside with, Octoberelli, Divorcelli. And a lot of people were coming in and chirping at me, right? A lot of people were coming in and chirping at me saying like, you just don't have the capacity to deal with this conversation because you weren't using like factually correct empirical evidence or whatever, right? And that's when I popped off on Catboy and I was like, shut the fuck up. Your life is miserable. Every day of your life is going to be even more miserable than the last. Fuck you, whatever. Right? And everybody and people still use that clip to this day to be like, Hasan is transphobic, which is a laughable statement. And the thing is, the argument that I was utilizing in that situation was exactly like what Bill is doing in this circumstance. Sometimes it's literally better to just like tackle the aesthetics. Sometimes it's better to tackle the aesthetics with a broader audience, especially on an issue where you're like, why do you care about this? Right? Like, why the fuck do you care about this? Do you actually care about this? You bringing this up so much despite not looking great even now, lol? Wait, what do you mean? You bring this up so much despite not looking great even now, lol? No, it was a first of all, I'm bringing it up because like Catboy and I made up, and he's a valuable, esteemed member of this community to this day. And he also came to that same conclusion as well. You yelled at me too, but it's all good. Yes, if you are an outspoken trans chatter, I've probably yelled at you in this community for most likely the same exact reasons that I'm trying to describe and communicate. When I talk about trans issues, I do not talk to trans people. When I'm talking about trans issues, I am talking to transphobic people. Well, some of them might be internalized transphobia, but for the most part, I am talking to the broadest subsect of the American population, okay? It's not you. You're already trans. You know how shit is fucked up. That's why sometimes I use tools that I think are better at convincing people. I agree with everything you're saying. I just think that you'll be miserable every day alone was way, way over the top. It was for the same reason, lol. I like to shut up when you talk about trans issues because I know you talking to transphobes and they would never listen to me. Yes, the conversation is never about you. I mean, it is about you in the sense that we're talking about trans existence, but it's never for you. It's for transphobes. That video of you opening Catboy's gift is endearing as fuck, bro. I know. It made me feel really bad about what I had said. I mean, I felt bad about what I had said already, but like I felt even worse, especially because at the time I didn't even like, I was not being considerate at all. Burr knows that Mara is going for the centrist aesthetic, is only for the aesthetics, and he knows where to get him. It will sting. Exactly. Bill Maher is just Destiny, but for Gen Xers. That's funny. It's a good take. Yeah, I love what Bill Burr says is clearly a jab, but also appeals to Maher's arrogant, condescending character so that he keeps yapping. Great way to get the audience on your side. Exactly. But what if you read enough wiki pages on the subject you're discussing? Yeah. Good luck to you then. What is this? This is from September 24, 2022. Because people won't shut up about this, Hasan isn't transphobic for saying he hopes my life is terrible. Closest to the transphobia in his rant was assuming I don't have extensive debate and research experience on trans shit, which is a reasonable assumption to make about a chatter. But even then, that is just a microaggression that he did based on the fact that he has years of political experience, not because he thinks trans people are stupid. He couldn't have known that I've been exhaustively researching and debating trans issues daily for the last 6 years. I was literally being a piss baby over the fact that a 30-year-old cis man didn't know all the immersed lore I do about trans people. Being able to rattle off statistics and evidence from memory as easily as I can isn't a normal standard to hold cis people to. I wouldn't consider someone transphobic across the board over a fucking accidental microaggression, dude. Everyone is transphobic in that case, but at least Hasan uses his gigantic platform to defend trans people. I even said that in my original admittedly inflammatory comment. He's been very obviously anti-transphobic in literally any other instances ever brought up trans people during this time as a leftist commentator. His transphobic rant was right after he defended trans people for 3 hours straight. Like, cool, he was mean to me when I literally provoked him. Stop trying to make me a victim over something I don't feel victimized for. Hasan is a net positive for trans people. I genuinely don't care if he was unnecessarily mean to a trans person, me, one single time, after a visibly stressful debate about trans people. This is the only statement I'm ever going to make on the issue. It's asinine. I don't even think I saw this. He went on a bit more, this was months ago, and literally right after I said it, I apologized in the Discord because I was heated. Yeah, I mean, this was more than 2 years ago at this point. It's pretty funny. I don't know. I still think the jury's out. Yes, I'm a foe. Stop trying to make me a victim over something I don't feel victimized for. I think certain people in other communities really need to hear that one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I would have liked it if I had seen it back then. But ultimately, yeah, people still use that as a fucking clip. People still use that as a clip to this day. Like, genuinely, openly transphobic people will literally be like, Hasan is transphobic. And it's like, bro, you are literally transphobic. You think trans people should die. What do you mean? Like, I'm seeing your tweets. It's not invisible, right? Like, I can see the other tweets that you have tweeted about wanting all trans people to die and how they are groomers. What leads you to believe that others will look at what you are saying right here in this moment and go, well, that's an ally right there. Like, it is almost as stupid as someone running around and saying such frivolous, ridiculous nonsense like, white people should be allowed to say the N-word, but also if a white person says the word cracker, I am going to be very upset. I'm going to be very, very upset. Well, on that note, that's all I got for today. Peace out, everybody. I got to run. I didn't even get to talk about the white boy cracker saga, cracker discourse once again. That was going to be a fun one. I can't believe I forgot to do that. Anyway, love you guys. I will see you tomorrow as always. Tomorrow I'm going on the Center Left podcast, the Adam Friedland show with Nick Mullen and Adam Friedland. So very exciting stuff there. I'm finally doing it. I gotta go though. I gotta run. I gotta get to a dinner with my family. I love you all. Sorry for the short half-day stream, only 5 hours. You already know what it is. Peace out, everybody.
Reviewing the P.O. box, Uncle Uger's face. Sudden discord at your prop. Great names take on break. Tiny Bernie Sanders, LGBTQ Air Force. The whole left at your fingertips, Ane at your door. H3 crowded debate, the Young Turks online show. 3 full fucking years of this, plenty more to go. 90-day fiance, talks of champagne bourgeoisie. A Trump rally live reaction, a mass riot